Welcome to my 2024 video for all signs. And this is a forecast in which I'm going to grab what I consider to be your top 3 transits of the year based on your sun, moon, or rising sign. What I am doing is I'm looking at the sky saying, what planetary placements matter to you the most? And you can listen again, as I said, for your sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign. So we're not taking 1 or 2, 3 events in 2024 and giving it to every sign. You have a unique energy as a person in this world, like an Aries rising, Taurus rising, in which you have a particularly planetary body that's more important to you, the Lord of your rising sign. So these kinds of new nuances are what I love about astrology. So we're going to go a little deeper into 3 things that you need to watch out for when they happen and why they're important for you in 2024. Please listen for your rising sign first. If you don't know your rising sign, please check my description box below for how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. If you know your time of birth, you will also be determining your rising sign when you do that particular video tutorial, which is free. And also, your sun can be about career, mother figures. It applies to everybody born within 30 days of you, right? So it's not as specific as you, time, birth, latitude, longitude of your birth. Your moon can be your mother figures, home, safety needs, and sometimes the body. So again, you can listen for your sun sign and your moon sign, but also please consider most accurate, perhaps your rising sign. Hey, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac and whole sign houses. All astrologers on YouTube are delineating your chart as if we're using whole sign houses. If you're a Placidus lover, that's fine. Although once you go whole sign, you never go back. It is the ancient house system. But if you are a Placidus person, don't confuse what we're telling you today with your Placidus chart. Please consider that I'm speaking from the perspective of a rising sign or sun and moon as if it's in the first house and delineating whole signs and whole houses. Okay. And you can cast your chart in whole sign houses and see what that looks like as well. Finally, I love the fixed stars and minor asteroids in this conversation today. Some of you may get a little bit of the minor asteroids in your content. I find that they are the devil is in the details. And if you are new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications because you know it helps the channel grow. And this is my passionate purpose and livelihood. And the more you like, subscribe, share with friends, the better this channel does and the better I am doing professionally in terms of being an astrologer with a business. I often promote things in my videos. Each month I have sharing something I've got going on, a class, a course, a discounted reading. Fortunately, I'm full for readings for the next almost, 9 months. However, if you want to see me, I do have a wait list down below. I'll be opening new spots during the year of 2024. Also, if you would like to check out my 2024 videos that are 90 minutes long, 75 to 90 minutes long for your sun sign or your moon sign or your rising sign. All of that information to purchase those private products is down below. I do not put that longer form content on my YouTube channel because every year I use it as a fundraiser to buy things like my Yeti mic, a new computer, to hire a video editor. And so you're contributing to my business when you buy that pre-order content, which is now for sale at $59 if you missed the pre-sale price of $49, and it will go up to $77. Originally, I was going to put it up on January 1st, but I've decided to wait until February 1st. For a lot of you will not receive even information that this product is available until this video comes out sometime in late December. Let's get talking then about the story of the sky for your sun, moon, and rising. We're going to start with Aries. We're going to spend a bit of time with each sign. This video could be a couple hours long, so you might want to settle in, get a pen and paper, take some notes. There will be timestamps below and chapters that will direct you directly to your sign. You don't have to listen for every sign. Timestamps in the comments or the chapters when you hit the headline of this video. It will then jump you to wherever you want to go in the narrative. And a lot of you do know, before I start with Aries, that in 2024, we have the big, very, very big event, a once every 14-year conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus, which is happening in the sign of Taurus at 21 degrees. And that is a really big deal. It's a huge synodic cycle reset. In Taurus, we haven't seen it since 1941. I've done a deep dive video with astrologer Dan Waits, a World Astrology Report that's coming out just before this or after this video, so stay tuned for that. But also I've done my own all signs delineation, and that's pinned to my channel right now. I think it's an important synodic cycle. It's something you won't see again in your lifetime for the most of you. And so understanding how that reset button in the Taurus 12 pie slices of your chart, which house is that, is a really important bit of information you might want to go into 2024 knowing. And while I do cover that in a more detail in my 2024 All Signs Bundle or each video up to 90 minutes, I cover it also in my recent separate video about this rare Uranus conjunction to Jupiter next April in the sign of Taurus. It will impact your life for the next 14 years that follow. It's not just what happens in April. Okay, it's a synodic cycle story, guys. Let's get talking about the sky. We're going to start with Aries. And as I do that, I'm going to make the screen change so that you guys can see. This is really cool. I love doing it this way. What you're going to see is I'm going to give you the backdrop of Aries. And that way it's also simple when you're trying to scroll through. Aries. All right. So Aries, I'm one of you, Sun, Moon, and Rising. These are the top 3 that I picked. Believe me, there's a lot going on for all of us Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising in 2024. But I'm picking the things that I like the most, right? Because we're having a lot of eclipses going through our sign. We'll be talking about one of those particular eclipses. It may help for some of you to see the chart. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that today because the events take place over a year, and for me to keep spinning the wheel of the chart is a lot of work. So we're going to just have my face talking at you. But if I change my mind, I will, but let's get going. So 2024, let's talk about number 1. Top thing number 1. Your career is about to rise. You're about to rise in your career. You are about to take off in your career over the next 2 years, starting in January of 2024. This exaltation is because Mars' heliacal rise, or 15-degree distance from the sun, is happening around 5 degrees Capricorn, around the 8th to 11th of January, meaning that this is the beginning of Mars starting something new at the top of your sky, your 10th house. And this means that as he rises here, you rise here. This is a place of your exaltation. The last time he had a heliacal rise in this part of your sky was back in 1977, January, and add 2 years for the long, 2-year cycle of influence. If you were alive in January of 77, add 2 years, wonderful. Then you can compare notes. What did it feel like back then? What was occurring back then? But we're talking about the now. And the now means that for many of us Aries, this is a once in a lifetime rise of our planet Mars, the planet that rules our sign, in the top of our sky, in our reputation and career area. So you can go into a 2-year window of phenomenal success in purpose, career, and reputation. The 10th house is the house of weddings and can mean also an energy of lifting up into the highest of the sky for celebrations that people acknowledge you for, such as a wedding, maybe even a graduation, change of status, where you're most visible in the world. If you're retired, then it's something to do with how your reputation, or a student, as a retiree, or as a move towards exalted purpose is amplified in 2024 January, add 2 years, because this starts at 5 degrees of Capricorn or so. Obviously, it may feel more intense for anyone with planetary placements, sun, moon, or rising in the first 10 degrees of Aries. Indeed, I have my moon there, as well as my sun pretty close to that. Now, that's the first big news for you. Career success in the next 2 years, reputation success amplified. Take advantage of that cycle. The second thing I want to mention here is that you have in your lineup a Chiron North Node conjunction on February the 17th. Now, the North Node is in Aries ever since 2023 July, and will continue through the sign of Aries until January of 2025. This means this is where eclipses are happening. But Chiron coming together with this North Node is a relatively rare cycle. And in fact, I have a code for it somewhere over there. Let me just go check, because I wasn't going to mention the time frame of that cycle, but let me just tell you how rare this really is for you. Well, I got my notes handy for us just so I can be really clear about the timing of this. So it's about like this. It's happening in 2024 in Aries, and it happened in 1969 in Aries, and it happened in 1820 in Aries, and it happened in 1726 in Aries, where Chiron on his 50-year cycle co-joined with the North Node on its every 18 to 19-year cycle, and therefore If you were alive in 1969, this happened at 1 degrees of Aries. So you can get the idea that this is not something, this is an everyday event in your life. Now, because Aries is your rising sign or your sun, your purpose and career, or your moon, home and home matters, or maybe your body, this is going to impact that part of your identity. And it's going to be a reset cycle, a new beginning, but it's also going to be something to do with the word healing, Chiron purpose, Chiron, your unique gifts and talents and original medicine that you're here to offer the world, being amplified by the North Node. The North Node expands what it touches. Chiron is neither negative nor positive. Center body, asteroid, healing. If you're an Aries sun, moon, or rising, you've had Chiron since 2019 and finishing in 2026, moving through the part of you that's your sun, moon, or rising. And this could be healing of father issues, sun, mother issues, moon. But if it's your rising sign, just a healing of your identity and who you are and how you're meant to show up in the world and how you wish this character of the Aries you to show up. Look to, therefore, a deep, profound healing of identity issues in general for you starting on February 17th as those two come together in the sky in the sign of you. This is a synodic cycle that can change your life over the next quite a few years, right, for the rest of your life. So it's an initiation into more authentic power, purpose, usage of your gifts, and healing anything unhealed or wounded about who you think you really are. Now, as we move into the third thing, it's definitely that humdinger of an eclipse on April the 8th next year at 19 degrees of Aries. It is a total solar eclipse. It is drawing a line across the US. It's 4.5 minutes long. It means it's powerful and it's potent. It doesn't matter where you live as an Aries. This is an eclipse at 19 degrees in the sign of you. Your sun near 19 degrees, your moon near 19 degrees Aries, maybe 3 to 5 degrees on either side, or your rising ascendant degree. Obviously, it's going to have a huge impact on you, and it's going to be setting you into a new direction. All solar eclipses are doorways to something new. The sun is darkened. It's a portal. The light of the sun is no longer shining, so it definitely can bring endings of some kind in career and purpose and life, some kind of closing of one door, but an opening of another. So it is a year-long cycle in general. You won't be able to tell the full extent of it until another eclipse in Aries in March of 2025. And also, you don't necessarily see events on the day of the eclipse. People are like, oh, nothing happened on the day of the eclipse. Don't expect the 8th of April to show you what it's all about. Let this unfold. Let it show you the way, but it brings destined change in identity or sun, career, moon, where you live, that kind of thing. This eclipse is going to be at 19 degrees, as I said. So any placements like my sun at 14 as an Aries sun, pretty close to that eclipse, right? So this is going to change my purpose and career, my solar energies as much as anything else, because it's the sun, not my ascendant. But if it's your ascendant, it's going to change a lot about your identity. And look forward to this kind of unfoldment over the year that follows as you discover a new version of yourself in the world. When you add that Chiron conjunction as well in Aries, you can see how exciting this is with the rise of Mars, improving your reputation and career as well. This is super exciting. One more thing about the rise of Mars in your 10th house. If your IC is in the floating IC is in the 4th house and floating midheaven is in the 10th house in the whole sign house system, this is definitely going to be more of a powerful amplification of career, but it could also lead to a change of home as Mars will be rising opposite the IC, more particularly midheaven at Capricorn 5 degrees, 0 to 10 degrees, IC at Cancer, 0 to 10 degree people. You really have a big energy of improvement and success in career, but maybe also a change of home in the 2 years that follow the January initiation of this new synodic cycle of Mars rising in the sign of Capricorn. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the next sign, which is one more thing I'd say. Because Mars cuts, ends, and severs, and he is rising in your 10th house, you may change your job, as in quit your career quits you, you're cutting away, ending something, but because it's exaltation, he's exalted in the sign of Aries, this is going to lead you to something very successful, something very powerful, and something better. And with a sextile formed to Lord Saturn at the same time in Pisces, it indicates that the Lord of the Capricorn house is supporting the rise of this story. And some of you may get a job in a foreign country, work for an international company, generate revenue from foreign shores and foreign lands. It's just a few of the ways that Saturn in Pisces could be supporting the heliacal rise of Mars in your 10th house. In our modern day, borderless income happens easily with PayPal, Stripe, and credit card processor. So it's not a big deal, right? You could easily find yourself revenue generating from foreign countries, one of the meanings of the 12th house, as well as maybe finally getting over an addiction or bad habit or pattern that allows you to be more successful in your career when you're not weighed down by that substance abuse or a substance dependency and something like that, those kinds of factors. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. And I'm just going to change the background for you guys so that we can see the little Taurus symbol there and remind people of where the hell we are as we go through the wheel of astrology. There we go. Taurus, you guys are ruled. Ooh, I just froze. I hope that doesn't happen too often. My internet says it's 5 bars. Okay. Crossing my fingers. Taurus, you guys are ruled, all right, by Venus. She's the goddess of love and beauty, art, kindness, friendliness, and sometimes money and romance. So this is important to always watch what she does in the sky. We'll be bringing a little bit of Taurian stories, Venusian stories into your year ahead. So I gave you the top 3 here of, let's take a look. Oh, yeah, this is what we'll do. We're going to start off with the fact that there's going to be on February the... Oh, let me get the date right. I'm looking at my chart. I think it's February the 17th. Yes. February the 17th, Pluto and Venus will co-join in the sky. Now, Venus is the lord of your sign, and Pluto is, of course, power and wealth. And this is a wealth yoga. Actually, don't be afraid of Pluto in this regard. What's so amazing about Pluto and Venus coming together? Because I hear you. It's like, oh, isn't that going to happen every blank, once a year as Venus moves pretty quickly through the sky, right? Well, yes, but it's not the same old business as usual because Pluto, for the first time since 1817, oh my God, this is like the time of, 1750s, 240 years ago, Pluto is in Aquarius. And he was there last year, sure, but he didn't touch down with Venus. So this is a new energy that you're going to experience over the next 2 decades in your life, and it's your first touch point with it in 2024. So Pluto is joining with Venus at 0 degrees on the 16th, 17th, depending on where you live, of February. And at the same time, it's in Aquarius, which is your 11th house of good spirit. Now, you can get unexpected. So sorry, it's not your 11th house of good spirit. I do apologize, but at least I got everything right about Aquarius. This is what happens when you're doing this without the thing in front of you. I'm using my brain. This conjunction of Pluto and Aquarius in the sign of Taurus, which, as I said to you, it's not something you've had in this lifetime yet, so you better pay attention to it. It's brand spanking new. Okay, so for you guys, it's happening in Aquarius, and it's your 10th house, right? 10th house of career, reputation, 10th house of your success and your motivations to succeed, and how your ambitions can play out in the visible world. Often it's our career and our work, but it can be many things that we aspire to be visibly succeeding in at the top of the sky. And this means there's some power coming your way this February, but it's the beginning of 20 years of this coming by once a year to engender a new sense of power and empowerment in purpose, career, and reputation. Pluto Venus is also a wealth energy and can bring you greater wealth in your career, a raise, a promotion, more success in your career. Because when this is occurring, during the month of February, around the 16th, 17th, there is also Mars in Aquarius, Mercury in Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius. It's the assembly of planets in the 10th house of you. These assemblies are relatively rare. And so there's a huge conflagration in February of goodness as you rise up to new power, new potency, new wealth, new intensity in things to do with what you consider your career, reputation, and purpose. Now, this again is going to repeat on the yearly or even more, twice yearly for the next 20 years until 2043. So get ready for an initiatory energy of a beginning of new power. If you're a Taurus sun, moon, or rising, it's particularly important that you will experience this more intensely if you have a sun, moon, or rising in the first 5 degrees of Taurus. But all of you Taurians will still feel this new energy, especially with the assembly of planets. Again, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Pluto, and Venus up at the top of your sky in the month of February. Holy moly. And when Venus joins in on the 16th, that's when it really begins to pick up. All right. It's when you're going to be feeling it. Next of all, I want to talk about the second thing that you might pay attention to. And again, I'm cherry picking the most yummy stuff for every sign, because in the sign of Taurus is the Jupiter conjunction to Uranus. You guys get top billing for this very rare synodic cycle. In terms of being in Taurus, it was in 1941. Before that, 1858. Did you live through that already? Many of you haven't. Now, it's also a cycle that occurs every 15 years. The last time it was happening in Pisces in 2011, and then in 1997 in Aquarius, and before that in Sagittarius. So this repeating cycle is about 14 years long. But because it's not been in Taurus, the sign of you, sign of your sun, sign of your moon, or rising sign, since well, I mean, 1850, I know none of you were alive, but 1941, like in the spring, many of you were not alive either. You're not going to be able to compare it to anything else. And it is a cycle that's going to reset your life for 15 years. Okay, 14 years that follow. But it starts around April the 21st, 21st, depending where you live, at 21 degrees of Taurus, 22 degrees of Taurus. And it basically is going to be, for all of you, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, with any placements, let's say 5 to 25 degrees, no, 15 to 25 degrees of Taurus, it's going to kind of impact you most directly. Remember, sun is your career, moon is your mother figure, home, body, and ascendant is everything about your life. I've watched people go through this. I watched how the Pisces lived through it from the last reset 15 years earlier. I watched how the Aquarians lived through it and the Sagittariuses before that. So I've gone back and done research with clients and friends that goes back 45 years now, and found that the most common thread of having this reset button of Jupiter, the greater benefic, giving you goodness, truth, wisdom, and bounty and expansion and prosperity, with unexpected, shocking Uranus, rebellious and freedom, is that a lot of life things change. I mean, a lot. People I know say their whole world changed in the 15 years that follow. Their career, their home, their job. They lost loved ones. Yes, because people do leave us in our lives. I mean, people pass. But all of these were defined by these people in hindsight as amazing experiences that brought them to the place they are today, which they consider in hindsight to be good, true, plentiful, bounteous goodness of Jupiter. Uranus, the freedom, the rebellion, the unexpected, the sudden. You, of all people, need to listen to my All Signs video about this reset button, which is now pinned to my channel, because you need to understand the deeper meaning of how this may play out when this reset cycle is encountered by you, because you are a planetary body ruled by Lord Venus, right? And she's also called the Lesser Benefic. Just in case you didn't know her nickname, it's kind of important to ask yourself, well, what does she say about this big event that I'm living through? Like, what's her take on it? Does she like it? Does she Siskel and Ebert, thumbs up or thumbs down? Well, I'm about to tell you the answer, okay? When this event kicks off in the sky, the planetary body that rules you, Venus, is in Aries. And Aries is a sign of the warrior and the independent one, and the one who, and she's tomboy-like, she's Xena warrior princess, who wants to pioneer, who boldly goes somewhere where no one's gone before, who's willing to do daring and risk-taking. So perhaps you could argue that you will take on a larger element of risk-taking in your life, boldness and daring. But it's also a place of your 12th house that could involve daring and risk-taking ventures around foreign countries, foreign lands, foreign travel, spirituality, awakening, things to do with revenue generated from foreign shores. These are possibilities that she may dispense you in that direction, and think that those are some of the areas of your life that are important. And then lastly, because everybody gets 3, and so do you, Taurus, I cherry-picked for you Venus Cazimi. Venus is the lord of your sign in the heart of the sun, June the 3rd, 4th at 14 degrees of Gemini. And because it depends on where you live, I'm saying, 3rd, 4th, because we're all in different time zones. So Venus does reset herself every 4 years in Gemini from either a direct motion or a retrograde. She's in direct motion all year. So you have no backwards old love stories coming back in the past, no money losses from the past returning to you, no ruminating the past of love and money. So it's a direct motion Venus all year, but in direct motion, she crosses the face of the sun, called a conjunction or a cazimi, on June 3rd or 4th at 14 degrees of Gemini, and reset your life for 4 years. But that reset button, which happens to be drum roll please, your money and earnings house, resources and possessions. It also takes cue in the 9.5 months that follow, because it's like she's pregnant with some new financial opportunity, pregnant with some new financial growth, pregnant with some new financial ideas for you. In this regard, you're going to look at a cycle that, although it is 4 years long, beginning with new financial and earnings directions starting in the month of June, it can take 10 months to show you what it really means and 4 years to fully unfold. But it is a benefic planet resetting your finances and money in some good way. Now, I did mention the date, I believe, was June the 3rd. 4th, again, something may happen that day, and you can get a divine download from Venus because she's with the sun. And you might want to pay attention to your inner imagination, your visions, things that come through your dreams at night during that Cazimi, because maybe she will even give you something like an idea. That'd be nice, right? Or a blessed, I'd buy a lottery ticket. If I was a Taurus man, I'd be buying a lottery ticket on June 3rd or 4th. You just never know, right? I mean, don't discount anything. But when this happens, this beautiful conjunction happens in the sign of Gemini, where is Lord Mercury? And why do we care where Lord Mercury sits? Because it's his house, right? There's a Lord of the Gemini real estate. It's his domain, his dominion, his domicile, his house. He's there too. He's sitting with Venus. He's at 2 degrees of Gemini. She's at 14 degrees. That means he witnesses it. And to make it even more juicy, Jupiter is there too. And that greater benefic, Mercury, the Lord of the domicile, co-joining with Venus Sun, I can guarantee that a lot of you Tauruses are about to have a very successful, positive financial turnaround in the 9.5 to 10 months that follows this Cazimi. Don't forget my All Signs bundle, 75 to 90 minutes. You can purchase down below or get just your sign. To go into more depth about all of these things, I'm only giving you my top 3, and I cover endless details in those longer 90-minute videos. So reminding you that they're for sale down below. Alrighty, so thank you, Taurus, for listening. Let me change the sign to the next sign. Of course, we always know the order of zodiacal order, and that's going to be Gemini. So let me change the background and pausing while I do it. Hey, Gemini, welcome to 2024 and your top 3 transits of the year based on your sign. Don't forget, you can get the longer 2024 video with all signs or your sign down below, and I'll have up to 90 minutes of discussion about your 24 events. But I'm cherry picking top 3 highlights for you to intrigue you about 2024. So, number 1, I picked Pluto. I'm moving into Aquarius, which might seem counterintuitive because it's such a slow-moving and giant transit. You may be wondering what was up with that. Well, first of all, Pluto in Aquarius is going to trine your sign, and that's going to bring you a period of great power, potency, and success over the next 20 years. It's not a one and done. It's not a day. He moves into the sign of Aquarius on the 20th of the month of January, and he will be here until 2043, but he will back up into Capricorn just for a smidgen, September, October, and November. But why I'm absolutely jazzed and delighted by his movement into your 9th house of God, especially, all right, during the energy of, the February timeframe when we have a pile up of planets in Aquarius, right? The great stellium, I just called her the great council of planets. I was talking about that for another sign. It's going to be such an intense time in the month of February, Venus-Pluto conjunction, power and wealth in your 9th house, academics. Your 9th house is the house of academics, legal and court cases and matters, foreign shores and foreign travel, religious and spiritual ideology and philosophy, book publishing, third marriages, and the deepest meaning and dharma of your life. What's your purpose here? As this Pluto begins to enter in January into this part of your sky, you begin to feel a super powered energy about why you're on the planet. And it gets even better when Jupiter moves into your sign halfway through the year, which we're going to be talking about next. Okay. But I would say to you, having this intense energy mobilizing you and moving you into more power and more correct dharma and movement towards your purpose can involve book publishing. It could involve foreign lands, foreign shores, even relocating, foreign travel, third marriage environments, being married to a third person, third time, or long-term third time committed love. This is going to be an important journey for you. And if it's your sun, it's about your career. Your moon about your home and home life, maybe, but your ascendant is about everything in your life. And when Pluto is here at the top of the sky, don't forget, I don't know if you I remember me mentioning this in the last video, if you're watching all signs here, there is a conjunction around February 16th of Venus and Pluto. And that's going to be a very intense energy in your ninth house of God, flowing to you as a Gemini, particularly you Geminis 0 to 5 degrees of Gemini. And something very lucky and powerful around wealth may occur here in February because this is a Lakshmi or a Lakshmi house in India. It brings fortune, wealth, bounty, and luck. And because it's flowing towards you, it can also be bounty and fortune, luck from a father figure. That kind of thing. So it's just a good, intense month of February, but reminding you, Pluto will be here all year long, minus September, October, November, when he dips back into your eighth house to fix some tax problems, finalize an inheritance agreement, get some chunky money revised. Whatever he does back in your eighth house of shared resources and chunky money is finishing up stuff he's been working on for quite a while. That would be September, October, November. Second of all, drumroll, please, I would say to you, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising people, that by far Jupiter moving into the sign of Gemini for the first time in 12 years is an incredibly important cycle for you. And therefore, you may find that this is a time in which your luck is on your side. Luck is on your side. Wealth is on your side. Prosperity is on your side. This Jupiter transit moving into the sign of Gemini, right, is going to happen on the 26th of May and will be here until June the 9th, 2025. So I would give you some advice. Take some chances. Be daring. Trust the universe. Leap in the net may appear. Go big or go home. It will put a little weight on your body. Quite often, Jupiter expands our girth. Sometimes people get pregnant. So it can be a fertility transit for those of you who are females or egg bearers, and your belly may expand with a baby. And you also might find Jupiter here is just going to make you feel more joyful, more alive, more half full cup, more subjective well-being. You could also be very attractive and magnetic and charismatic, and other people would like to be around you. You could feel like a king or queen of Mount Olympus, very leaderful. And because you're lucky, because this is a planet of luck, of prosperity, of goodness, of wisdom, you're going to embody that part of your reality. There's nothing bad about this transit. There really isn't. You also, if it's your sun, it's an embellishment of your career and more potency and power there and leadership. If your moon, maybe an embellishment or an expansion of your home. But if it's your ascendant, it's everything about your identity. Getting ho, 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 Santa Claus, Jupiter enlivened and picking up an energy field of great goodness. Use it or lose it. You get it once every 12 years. And finally, the next thing we want to talk about is that you have a Mercury elemental fire year. Now, I just did a deep dive video with Gary Caton, the author of a book all about the details of Mercury and astrology. He's a Mercury expert, as well as an astrological magician and alchemist. And it was a great conversation. It'll be on my channel after this video is out in my first week of January. But I think you might want to go into listening to that, because when Mercury is the Lord of your sign, and he's in an elemental fire year, not seen since 2017, maybe a bit into 2018, this is going to give you an incredible amount of success in the following areas of your life in 2024, as Mercury spends almost 6 months in fire signs because of retrograde cycles. You're going to find a great deal of empowerment with short distance travel, skills-based learning, things to do with siblings, things to do with cousins, things to do with your local neighborhood environments or your online world, social media platforms. And if you live in the online world like I do, then this is going to be a wonderful amplification of greater growth and success and revisions in that part of your story. It is your 7th house of marriage as well, and not just the 3rd Leo house of the things I delineated, but your 7th house of marriage is also going to experience a longer stay, of Mercury in 2024 in your 7th house. And it can lead to marriages. It can lead to things to do with new business contracts, new business partnerships, or a larger ability to message and reach to a audience, marketplace, client structure, because every one of these places is going to have a cazimi, which is very magical. As Mercury retrogrades into the heart of the sun, there's something enchanted about these houses for you. And you won't get this for another 7 years. So again, if you might go back to 2017 into early 18 perhaps, and think about how it was playing out then in the areas I'm describing for you. And Mercury rules legal contracts and legal agreements as well. So some of you may be also really focused on those matters in 2024 and it having some great power of initiative, drive, and success in that area. And finally, this is also connecting to your 11th house of good spirit, which is the Aries part. In fact, it is in April that the Cazimi will be here. The first Cazimi is in April in your 11th house. The second Cazimi is in your third house in August. And the fourth one is in December in your 7th house. And that's when Mercury in the heart of the sun resets himself. Well, the one that's happening in Aries too, and you in the month of April, this is really positive for some kind of, you could have a windfall, a pennies from heaven event. You could revise your longer range plans and goals. You could have a greater influence with groups of people. You might even experience something to do with a kind of benevolent intersection with an elder sibling or somebody of power and leverage, maybe even from your past, who wishes to be an ally, an assistant, a patron, or a benefactor towards you. It's kind of like favors from those friends. Mercury here can also expand or change or revise your larger social groups and friendships of belonging. And that is happening in April. But all said and done, these houses, 11, 3, and 7 are relational and ideation houses, comma houses. And so you're going to come up with new ideas that are amazing. You're going to come up with new relationships that are interesting to you in a bold, fiery, initiative, daring, fire way. I mean, fire takes chances, fire lights sparks, right? It's the energy of spirit as well. So I hope that's useful for you and that in your year ahead, Gemini, that you can really mobilize a huge amount of success in houses 3, 6, and 11. I didn't mention 3, 7, and 11. I also should mention it may be involving a year of a lot of travel, a lot more travel than you usually do, as that shorter distance travel is the third house, or skills-based learning or teaching as well. Now we're going to move on to the Cancer folk. So let me change the sign. Welcome, Cancer, sun, moon, and rising. Sun, career, moon, mom, mother figures, home, nest, father figures, son, purpose. But then your rising sign, everything about you. Okay, so we're going to go into the top 3 transits of 2024. I'm cherry picking stuff that I think you're going to love, that's important to you. But also remember, my 2024 All Signs videos and or a la carte videos are below. House fundraise for supplies and stuff. I never put this content public, and it will give you up to 90 minutes of a deep dive into all of 2024 for you. All right, the bundle's a great deal, by the way, because you get, all signs, so you can listen for sun, moon, and rising. So let's begin with what I cherry picked for the top number 1. Oh yes, you got to pay attention. It's Chiron conjunct what? The North Node of fate or destiny in the 10th house of career. The reason I picked this is because it's a rare cycle and we don't see very much of it. And it is something that I already itemized earlier for another sign. I should have kept that page out. But the last time we saw it, so give me a second, like you weren't alive, really, okay? Oh my God, that page should be on the handy, right? That would have been 1969 and before that 1820. So if you weren't around in 1969 or 1820, having the North Node of fate in the top of your sky in your 10th house of reputation and career and purpose, which it has been since last May and will be through to January 2025, which is where the eclipses are happening. Having the North Node up here with Chiron is a once in a lifetime for many of us event. And it's going to be something for you to do with healing and bringing you into alignment with true purpose and your original medicine, your unique gifts and skills as it applies to you expanding North Node, growing in your purpose. That's that simple. You're going to find a elevation and a clarity that you've never had in your life before. And I don't say that lightly, unless you were born like in the 40s and you went through this in the 69 period and you're an adult. This is going to be new for a lot of people. So it's setting a cycle of opening a gateway for you. This is happening in the month of February, around the 16th, 17th, opening a gateway for you of a new beginning that's really deeply aligned with your purpose and healing something that maybe starting in 2019, you're thinking, am I on purpose? Is purpose on me? What am I supposed to do? What's the meaning of my life? Is this purpose my purpose? Are you my purpose? Dr. Seuss, are you my mother? Well, now you're going to figure it out. Really, this is it. You're going to get the beginning of understanding what your real directional shift is in your career, how you can show up in an authentic way from a place of true gifts and power, and maybe even adopt a Chironic healing path, like to become a shaman, a mentor, a coach, a guide, a healer, for some of you is also possible. Or be seen in the world as those things, whether you declare yourself those things or not. And number 2, for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, I do want to draw your attention to what I'm calling the humdinger of a century eclipse. It's happening at 19 degrees of the sign of Aries. It's happening on April the 8th. It's going to swath across all of USA, creating a big shadow. It's a total solar eclipse. Because it's happening for you at 19 degrees of your 10th house, of course, if your sun, moon, or rising is, let's say, 5 degrees on either side of 19, you're going to feel it more intimately, but all Cancer risings will feel this, or suns and moons nonetheless. A solar eclipse brings a change. Now, there have been solar eclipses here in the past. There was one in, let me check the date. There was one here at around the same degree. I know I put it in here. 2008, was that right? No, that's not right, but I don't have it handy. It would have been in the 2005 eclipse cycle. We had eclipses in Aries, and we did indeed have an eclipse at the same degree. So it's not the first time you've experienced this, but I would say to you, this eclipse, total solar eclipse, totality gives its potency, can really rattle and change your career direction in the next 6 months to a year after the April eclipse. So look forward to that. April, the 8th eclipse. Now, when I say change it, sometimes a solar eclipse, because the sun is being blacked out and we can't see it, you could have a blackout in your career and reputation, right? You could quit your job quits you, something can dramatically change, but every solar eclipse is a beginning of something new. It is a doorway, like a supernatural portal to something better. So when one thing ends, when one door closes, another one does indeed open. I mean, eclipses here can be very much about you realigning purpose because of Chiron up here. And maybe it's not so much as a dramatic, like I walk out of my job, as you become more deeply aligned with a sense of purpose and your unique gifts and talents being accessed by you and others in your career and reputation direction. But it is a big deal. And because this eclipse is happening in the 10th house, it does square your marriage house. It opposes your 4th house of home and real estate, and it squares you as well. This can mean, especially if your midheaven floats in the 10th house and whole sign houses, your IC floats in the 4th house and whole sign houses, that this can really change your home, and you may be moving as a result of this eclipse. Perhaps in the year that follows, there can be a buying, selling, a real estate change of home, especially with the South Node moving through the 4th house, which often means a loss or letting go of home, surrendering a home. And so I can see some of you will be moving your home, buying a new home, selling a new home, but just changing your home in the year that follows the April the 8th eclipse at the top of your sky. Number 3, drum roll, please. I wrote down for you guys. What did I want? Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus. Now, I picked this for you because Jupiter in your Taurus 11th house is in the house of his joy in the ancient astrological tradition, and he's a greater benefic, and he brings sextile direction blessings to you in your house of identity, and he flows to you in a very auspicious and positive way. Now, because of that, he also flows not only to you in a sextile, but he flows over to your 7th house of marriage, clients, and audience in a flow direction as well. And he flows to your 3rd house of siblings and short distance travel. Long story short, this is a very blessed energy for Jupiter as he joins with Uranus for the first time in Taurus since 1941. Remember, in my All Signs video, I dive into this in a lot more depth, but I have a video out there right now that you can grab and go look. It's pinned to my channel so you can understand the synodic reset cycle in more depth than I will cover in this little teaser video. And that's currently available on my channel, as I said. But this is a nice one for you. This would feel like, okay, because there's kind of a windfall, luck, pennies from heaven, fairy godfather in the 11th house, Jupiter, you could have some windfall financially on this one. And this can be something that opens up not just on the day of this conjunction, which is around the 21st of April, around 22 degrees or 21 degrees of Taurus. It's not just that day. That's the beginning of something that can unfold over 14 years. But certainly in the proximity to that event, in the month of April into May, you may have some unexpected financial bounty, maybe better results from your finances because of something to do with an elder sibling, maybe because of a friend or ally or benefactor offering you some support. Now, this also can bring you into touch with a deeper and more profound and exciting and exhilarating change of your long-range goals, dreams, and plans for your life, but also the greater gains from your 10th house of career. And for the most part, it can simply say that over the next 14 years, you're going to grow and expand in your earnings, success, and your perks of your career. The Academy Award, here it comes. I won the Pulitzer. Oh my gosh, I'm like making six-figure income and now I'm in seven-figure income. Things like that for some of you Cancers can really blow up for you in a good way over the 14 years that start out in April of 2024. And the other kind of piece of this little mystery ingredient is Venus is in the top of the sky in Aries as the lord of this story, as a planetary body ruling this conjunction. And Aries is your 10th house of career, reputation. So again, we see all the success financially and in terms of a bounteous expansion. Expanding your friends, having radical new friends, rebellious friends, going into rebel groups of belonging, finding freedom in new friendship circles. Certainly Jupiter here can get you involved in movements, or you could become a movement maker, because Jupiter in the 11th is like the Montessori woman or Martin Luther King. These are people, civil rights movements, people who led new movements, education, civil rights, have a lot of action like midheaven Jupiter stuff in their 11th house. So you might get really embroiled in some movement and become a participant in a greater social movement, or you may be even the one initiating that. And lastly, fame can happen in the 11th house. It's one of those houses. And if you're seeking fame, sudden fame can befall you anytime in the 15 years, 14 years after this conjunction. The next one is in 2037. And so, also look to April, May. Something in that point of time could also bring you a bit of celebrity or a bit of recognition by a wider group of people or a larger segment of society. Alrighty, thanks for listening, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And we're going to move on next to the next sign. Hello, Leo. Welcome to 2024, the top 3 transits for you. Don't forget, the longer version of this 90-minute video, 75 to 90 minutes, is available. Check my description box below this video if you want to order that and find out more than the cherry-picked top 3 that I'm giving you today. That helps me build my equipment that I need for my business and hire staff to help me out. I use that as my yearly fundraiser to support this channel and my business. So welcome, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I'm going to talk about what I think are your top 3 now. And today's a spit, top 3 videos of 2024. And let's start into Leo. You have Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius, and especially intense in the month of February. And yes, it is a longer story transit. We got a bit of a dip last March, April, May into mid-June. We felt a bit of this energy before, but Pluto in your 8th house can bring you great wealth. Oops, sorry. I revise. Sorry, I forgot to say. Pluto in your, speak English, Lori. Pluto in your 7th house can bring you great power and powerful people and power in your audience marketplace. Like, in other words, first of all, let's be really realistic here for you Leos. If you're in a relationship that's already terminal, it's not going to work. It's the unhappy marriage, the unhappy business partnership. You're already not feeling great about it. Pluto here can terminate that. It's definitely like, yeah, let's just die in the death and rebirth energy of Pluto. So some of you, especially early degree Leos, first 5 degrees of Leo, over the next 2 years, will feel maybe the end of relationships are needed or they just come about. But Pluto here can power you up in your 7th house. He can bring you intense, powerful, wealthy people as partners of business clients, as marriage partners. He can power up and transform the way your marriage feels and goes for you. The last sign to get this is the Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And believe me, I know a lot of Cancer sons who's definitely experienced a dramatic change, and Moon and Rising in 7th house matter. So it's not always easy. I mean, Pluto's not the easy planet, but he is important and he'll be there for like 20 years. So you're going to get used to him in your 7th house. February is really beautiful. We have a stellium of planets, or the council of planets. We have the sun, and we have Venus, we have Mercury, and we have Pluto, and it's really lovely and intense time. If you're somebody as a Leo though who's going to be looking for a relationship, this is also possible with a Pluto-Venus conjunction and Mercury. And if you start a relationship sometime in February, happy Valentine's Day, this is going to be one of the most transformational relationships of your life. All said and done though, when Pluto is in your 7th house, he happens to be aiming at your 10th in what we call an applying square. And this means you could also begin to deeply transform and change your career path path and reputation path, which is your Taurus 10th house, over the next, yes, long range plan, 20 years. Early born Leo, sun, moon, and rising with this Pluto across the way may be facing, however, also in the mirror of other people, some of your own shadow, some of the parts of yourself that are powerful, dominating, tyrannical, or controlling that you haven't come to terms with can outpicture as bringing those tyrants, dominators, dominatrixes, controllers, people who tend to want to abuse power into your life. And if that occurs, step back a bit and say, wow, well, disowned part of me, shadow work young 101, is this person reflecting? And do I need to experience it in the outer plane? Because Pluto can bring those types of folks into your story. Next, drum roll, please. Number 2, you're going to have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the critical 10th house. That is important because it's angular to you. It squares your ascendant. It squares your descendant. It squares you. It squares your significant others. It's opposing your 4th house of property, home, real estate. Now, even though it's in the 10th house, it could also influence those other houses or those other areas of your life. Most certainly, it is a 10th house of career story, right? We're talking about your reputation and career, and that conjunction that happens in April, around the 21st of April, is going to therefore reverb through your life over the next 14 years that follow. This is a synodic cycle. I have a whole separate video on it pinned to my channel going into more detail, so go ahead and listen to that. But it can reset your career direction in a once-in-a-lifetime way. You haven't had this reset since 1941. Depending on your age, most of you won't have had a career reset because you were too young for that. So a career reset full of Jupiter, blessings, expansion, growth, opportunity, and goodness, full of Uranus, freedom, rebellion, innovation, excitement, exhilaration, and sudden changes. And those two are paired together in that career space. Certainly, April, May, you may have some unexpected jolts of change in your career direction. That's very possible, especially with Pluto participating from your 7th house in a whole sign square. There is also the possibility with the synodic reset in your 10th house that you have a dramatic and unexpected change of your reputational status. I'm married, I'm divorced, I'm straight, I'm gay. I mean, how people see you in the world. The 4th house is opposite, and that's where you live. That's your home and your nest. Now, anything that jolts one house will always impact the one 180 degrees away. So look for some major jolt to your 4th house. Maybe you're going to change your home. Maybe you're going to move out of your home. Maybe you're going to have a sudden directional shift in your home. With Venus participating as the dispositor from Aries, which is your 9th house, some changes could involve going back to school, traveling abroad, moving abroad, getting involved in legal marriage, legal aspects of legal endeavors, or book publishing even. That's another meaning of the 9th house. But also, the 9th house is your Dharma house. And so there's a lot of intensity in your 10th asking you to align your career, says Venus, with your true purpose, but be bold, brave, daring, and Xena warrior princess in the search for a path of career that is going to be not just prosperous, exciting, and exhilarating, but true, meaningful, and purposeful. And a lot of Leos are going to find the answer to that question, not just April, May, but in the 15, 14 years that follow, indeed until 2037, when the next conjunction of these planets happens in Cancer. Then I also would like you to draw your attention to, what else did I pick for you, Leos? I'm looking at my notes. Oh, yeah. All right, just going to bring that one up. So first of all, it's going to happen in November of 2024 that Mars will come into an opposition to Pluto. Now, because Pluto's in your 7th house, we're talking about it, right? Otherwise, yeah, not really. This is an important axis of self and other. And so when Mars is opposite Pluto, and this is going to feel very, very intense, you might find yourself wanting to go to fight for something against some powerful force that is opposing you. I'm going to give you the actual more acute dates on that one. So give me a second. I'm going to advance a chart that I have in the back end, because, the kind of energy of having to oppose Pluto isn't something you've actually experienced in your life before. So this is something as a Leo, and you're fierce and courageous and bold and have great hair. I have great hair. I just did an interview with Dan Waite and found out he's a Leo sun, and he's got great hair. Dan Waite's a World Astrology Report. And man, I mean, all Leos have great hair. If even they're bald, they have a great bald head. So the energy of Mars in the sign of, sorry, Braid, come back online. When is this event happening? Sorry, I have to go cue the chart because I didn't write it down. So give me a sec. Mars, Mars, Mars. When are you going to hit the opposition to Pluto that I was looking at? And yeah, but will I give you the dates? Hang on. Oh, I'm losing the light here. It starts November the 4th, okay? So November the 4th, we get Mars in 0 degrees of Leo. He's going to be in your sign till June of 2025, but he's sharing that with Cancer, so he's in and out. But you have a lot of Martian force in your life, starting November the 3rd, all the way through June of 2025. Of course, Mars will back up or back end into the sign of Cancer. So it's not all just one place, but you're going to feel feisty, bold, daring, brave, courageous. You're willing to take on a fight. You're willing to go to bat for what you want. You're going to be will-powered up. You're going to be driven. You're going to be passionate about life. But watch for that early ingress into the sign of Leo around the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th of the month of November. And I'm going to be very precise, because it's on the 19th of the month that then we get Pluto participating as he slides into Aquarius. So you begin to feel kind of like, I'd say November 4th to the 19th, you're just feeling intense energy, fiery Martian energy. You may feel irritated, agitated, angry, or powerful, purposeful and passionate. And then along comes Pluto around the 19th, 20th, 21st. And technically it looks like it's on the 20th. And Pluto, okay, it is going to be opposite that Mars. And so now there's this Pluto-Mars opposition energy that really is driving you to go against whatever power or powerful forces feel to you to be opposite you. And you need to drive through and make a change, drive through and, combat something. And that can also, because you have a sword or a knife in your hand or a scalpel, your Mars, well, it's fire. You probably have a torch with a sharp edge. You may cut somebody from your life. Yeah, you may say, I'm done. I'm done with this business partnership. I'm done with this relationship. I'm done with this situation over there. Okay, so it's intense energy. But all the bigger story is Mars is going to be in the sign of you for quite a long time. And so because of that, you're going to have until June of 25, this Mars in the sign of you. And Mars will be in the sign of you for almost half of that time. So probably about 3 months. And therefore, again, you're coming into a very rare time of intense power, intense purpose, intense passion. And get ready to see a new version of you arise in the world where you look like Mars looks good on you. Like Mars looks good on you. Okay. You might want to go look at a transit chart of Mars and get all the dates for 2025 when he backs into Cancer and comes back to Leo. But all said and done, this is a very powerful time in your reality into 2025, starting in November. Oh my God, I'm going to get some really weird light in a minute. Now we're going on to the next sign. Hello, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. We're talking about 2024 and your top 3 transits that I've cherry picked just for you. If you want to get a lot more detail about every important thing that's happening for you in 2024, you might want to grab down below the a la carte Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising video, or get the bundle and listen for all of your, sign, sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, share with friends and family. There are links to unlisted videos, and there are 12 videos up to 90 minutes each about 2024. It's how I raise money for my channel, get new mics, get staff to hire, and help myself grow as an online entrepreneurial astrologer. All right, so Virgo, this is my cherry pick story for you. First of all, Jupiter. We have to pay attention to Jupiter. Why? Because Jupiter is moving into Gemini, and that's your 10th house of career. And he's doing that on the 3rd week of May, May the 26th through to June 9th of 2025. Now, this is going to be a once every 12 year super glow up in your career space. This is where now you're going to be very successful. You're going to have luck. People look on you favorably. The bosses love you. You get raises and promotions. You apply for your dream job and you get it. This is your reputation. Now, if you're a student, then you're going to succeed at your goals and do well, and you're going to have great grades, and then you're applauded by the professors. Or if you're retired, then whatever you do in your retirement is going to show up as an successful visage. The whole world watches your actions in the 10th. That's where you're the visible high noon of your sky, and praxis action in the world is going to be highlighted. You are going to be successful in whatever you're doing in the world. And so what can you say? Who doesn't want all of that success? When Jupiter's up here, he's also going to be flowing to Pluto, who will have moved into Aquarius, which is your work house. Therefore, work colleagues, co-workers, employment stories are flowing from Pluto power to Jupiter in the top of your sky, and that will bring you some powerful success, especially in June and July and August. Okay, those are three extraordinarily successful times with Pluto applying to Jupiter in your 10th house. Then we have Pluto backing off from the 6th house and taking a hiatus back to your 5th house of children and romance. I bet some of you had some forbidden toxic romances since 2008. Pluto goes back to finish the job September, October to mid-November. And then on November 20th, he pops back into your workhouse and bringing you November through to June of next year a lot more success in your career and workspace. This is such a good time for you. Some of you can surprise yourself by how well you're doing in whatever you aim for in terms of work and career. Now, Pluto can mean the death of an old job. So you may be changing careers, changing paths as well, but you're succeeding at the change. Pluto in your 6th house can also mean a profound transformation around your situation in life as it applies to debt. You owe money, you need to pay off debts, and Pluto can power you up to pay those debts off. And the debts of the 8th house, especially where the North Node is traveling, where there's eclipses happening, can bring some serious changes to your finances, but we'll get to that in a minute. Finally, Virgo. Jupiter up here is a kind of a wedding thing, you know? He's like the god of legal agreements, like weddings, and he's at the top of the sky in a kind of wedding house. And if some of you are thinking of getting married, then this could be an indication of a time frame for the proposal for marriage or the actual marriage. Because you see, you've got Saturn moving through your 7th house, and he's giving you testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Is this the right relationship for you? And it's going to feel like you're going through hardship and difficulty until 2026 with Saturn in your 7th house. But I love this energy here that I'm talking about, because with Jupiter in the 10th house, it could also signify that the hard work of Saturn is to establish a more traditional form for the relationship, such as moving in, shared resources and finances, or marriage. And Jupiter up here could indicate, yeah, sure, why not? 3rd week of May to June of 2025, here comes the bride, here comes the groom. Number 2 on my Virgo story for you guys is Mercury's elemental fire year. Just like Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury. Mercury in fire, spending 6 months almost in the fire signs in the sky, something it's not been seen by you since 2017. And it happens roughly every 7 years. So when Mercury is moving into his retrogrades and cazemis in the sign of fire, here's what it does for you. It deepens your spirituality, because this is the houses 12, 4, and 8, the moksha liberation houses, can bring you into great connection to God, truth, wisdom, and spiritual liberation. However, these are also what Gary Caton calls dynasty or dynasty houses, and has to do with family wealth and legacy wealth. And I'm not going to pretend that it isn't possible that you may encounter opportunity to get money from inheritance, whether it's your inheritance or your partner's family of origin. Should you be married? I can't tell you, your life is your life, but you can be getting some inheritance money into your story during this transit of Mercury and fire. And it is in April that he's in the heart of the sun in Aries. And Aries is the part of your sky that has to do with the inheritances and the chunky money. And so looking to April and May as a potential time of coming into some money is what I'm suggesting. Now, it doesn't have to be inheritance. It could be tax rebates, insurance payouts, a stock that takes off, your partner's money is doing well, but there's an up-leveling of financial gain for you at this time. And also the cazimi of Mercury in your 12th house happens in August, and the cazimi in Leo in August, and the cazimi in Sagittarius in December. So you can go April, August, December and expect major changes in your life to do with home, property, real estate, foreign lands, foreign shores, and travel, and things to do with money and money situations, including taxes, by the way. But for the most part, again, these houses can bring you some wealth. Now, the 4th house may be a home house for you, and some of you may be changing your home as a result of the fire daring do. And because Sagittarius rules your 4th house, some of you may travel abroad, or even indicated here is a possibility of an attempt to move yourself to a foreign country and reside in a foreign place. Whether it's permanent or not, I can't say. It may only apply to the elemental Mercury fire year. And with the North Node moving through the house of chunky money, your 8th house of inheritance money, this particular cazimi reset in April has extra potency around the potential for some sort of unexpected financial gain coming to you at that time. Then I have my third and last thing I want you to pay attention to here. And that is going to be, I'm trying to read my writing. Yes, August 19th and then December 24th. I'm highlighting for you Saturn is in a square from Pisces to Jupiter in Gemini. This is an important time for you to really work through any last problems in any long-term committed love stories. Please don't start a new relationship under this. It will always bake in a very difficult problem, all right? So August 19th, December 24th, Saturn from your house of significant love relationships, also business partnerships, also clients and audience, will square Jupiter in your career space. And a lot of this can look like career tension because you're doing so well in your career and problems in the relationship being a counterpoint to it. Like causing friction because maybe you have to work hard, maybe because you're like making more money than your partner, maybe because you're captivated by your own success, but you're doing well. So who's to complain? We know that. Jupiter in the 10th, Pluto in the 6th, but there's friction from the marriage house. And Saturn is bringing heavy energy into that relationship. And even your partner just might be heavy, depressed, down, or anxious. And it doesn't feel good when Saturn is here as well. I have to say, like often it's your partner who he feels burdensome to you or feels burdened by the relationship or just is heavy or depressed or, super serious or raining on your parade. And, Jupiter wants to expand and grow and bring joy to things. And Saturn is like the taskmaster and the sober and the realistic one. So this tension can definitely be a last testing of the Saturn journey through your seventh house of audience, marketplace, business partnerships, clients, and significant love relationships. So get ready for that incredible tension August the 19th and December 24th. Do I have any guidance for you? Good question. Like, what would I do with that energy myself? I think I would lean into the fact that you have, I think, you're here to succeed in your career over the next 14 years. That's what Jupiter wants you to do in the next year. But Pluto moving through your sixth house powers you up in the career part of your sky. And so if this partner or relationship or client or audience situation feels too heavy for you, it may just be Jupiter is the king of blessed endings and he's squaring your marriage house while Saturn is heavily raining on that parade. And so for some of you, a blessed ending in a significant relationship may not be the worst thing that ever happened to you. If you make it through this transit of August 19th and December 21st, give a few days on either side, especially germane. Well, it's still going to hit all of you Virgos, but maybe the mid-range Virgos 10 to 20 degrees are feeling the most of Virgo. If you make it through this, what doesn't kill you does make you stronger, and this relationship will have been tested in the trial and the fire of the squares that are coming up in 2024. All right, Virgo, we're moving into the next sign. I'm going to lose the light completely and be blinded by the light. So let's get going and talk about the old Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising folk in our story here. Okay, Libra. I'm not even going to cut the video while I change it. It's easier. Okay. Here we go. Am I still recording? 1, 2. Yeah. Okay. Libra. Hey, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Welcome to the top 3 transits of 2023. If you want the longer deep dive 90-minute videos that I did on all signs, please consider either just buying a la carte down below and under my description box, your one sign, or the all signs bundle. And I use that as a fundraiser every November, December, in order to raise money for my business. And it's only $59. So why not get it? That price will only be here till the end of January. And then I decided that I'm done with any kind of sales. All right. All right. So let's get going and take a look at the story for you. I'm getting my chart up and running and talking all about Libra. Oh, well, it doesn't help to jump the chart ahead by a year and look at your 2025 now, does it? All right, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. It is a story for you in 2024 where I've cherry picked what I think in my little handwritten notes on my big notebook here are the things you need to watch for the most. Now, first of all, you're ruled by Venus. She's the Lord of your sign. So you need to watch her all the time, see what she's doing in the sky and pay heed to her. But she is actually going to meet in the sign of Gemini, around 14 degrees of Gemini, on the 3rd, 4th, depending on where you live, of the month of June. This opens up a beginning of something fresh and new as she is in direct motion, crossing the face of the sun, and going to give you a new start, a fresh blessing in your ninth house. Now, this is a house of God, spiritual philosophy, foreign shores and foreign lands, book publishing, third marriages, court matters and legal affairs, things to do with, did I say foreign travel? Yeah, I did. Your spiritual philosophy and the dharma, the meaning of your life. Why are you here? Because it's happening at 14 degrees. Of course, if you're close to that with your sun, your moon, or your rising, 5 degrees on either side is really going to hit you more acutely, right? So you're going to feel it more intensely, but certainly every single Libra will feel this. And the reset can give you a 9.5 month, 10-month window of time in which things to do with your ninth house are going to unfold in a fresh new way. And so things to do with all the things I itemize, including book publishing. I know a Libra who's going to get her book published. She's writing a big second book in her life, an award-winning writer. And that can be very auspicious for that reset button to get that book into the hands of an agent or a publisher sometime in June, add 9 months. Okay, so that's so simple, right? But it's also a 4-year story. It can unfold over the course of 4 years, not just 1 year. As well, with Jupiter, not with Jupiter, with this Cazimi in your ninth house, you're going to find that the element of the Cazimi is amplified by the presence of Jupiter up there, which we're going to get to next, making this even more powerful, even more positive, and better yet, Lord Mercury sitting up there during the Cazimi, who is the Lord of the sign of Gemini, flowing in what's called an air trine to your identity. It's extremely positive. Not only is the month in which it happens of June positive, right? But also the unfoldment of the 9 months that follow in areas to do with the ninth house. Certainly foreign shore lands and travel will be blessed for you in the 9 months that follow and even over the course of 4 years. And some of you may really lean into the words humanitarian, international, global, spiritual philosophy, ideology, and of course, book publishing, courts, and legal matters in a very positive way. Let me just fix the light. Don't think I can handle it. It's in my eyes. So let's take it down a notch. I've been traveling to Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm trying to get all these recordings done before I lose any light in this window, and it becomes nothing but blinded by the light. Okay, so moving on. Number 2 for you is the North Node Chiron conjunction in the 7th house where the eclipses are happening, the house of significant love relationships. Now, I'm not going to make this one easy for you because eclipses can eclipse a relationship. It could be the end of a significant love relationship in the months that follow these eclipses. And we'll get into the eclipses in a minute. Well, I might dovetail it with that. So Chiron North Node is happening, to activate your 7th house around the 16th, 17th of February. We haven't seen that conjunction, for a long, long time. And you wouldn't have been alive the last time it happened, most of you, 1969, in this place and sign. So this sign in place, 1969, there was a conjunction. Because it's a house of significant others, marriage partners, long-term friendships, business partners, clients, and audience marketplace for your career. And there's a reset here of some kind, but an expansion as well. Something is trying to open up, to expand into something new. North Node expands Chiron. Are you having a healing in a significant relationship? Are you having a healing around marital issues? Are you having some, intensity here? It's not just healing a marriage partner. It's healing our energy of woundedness about committed love and marriage. And the wound might be yours, right? You might be trying to work on in a relationship that doesn't work for you. And, but you got a wound that I've got to stick with something no matter what. I mean, it could be any kind of wound. With the North Node going through here and the eclipses as well, April the 8th, I'm just bundling this into one thing right now, is where that big, big total solar eclipse is happening at 19 degrees of Aries. And because we have the North Node and Chiron co-joining here in February, it's all one story. And so there's a big attempt to blot out the sun and reset your life in your marriage house. But it could not be just maybe one relationship, but your entire way of seeing your audience, business partners, clients, and long-term love relationships. You are changing your relationship to relationships. You are changing your relationship to relationships to be more whole, more healed. Chiron North Node can mean also a teacher, a guide, a mentor, a shaman coming into your life in February after this conjunction and influencing your reality as well. So let's see what happens, Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Now we have a big one for you in terms of Libra eclipses. And since you're a Libra and eclipses are happening on the South Node cycle, started in May of 2000, the first South Node ingress into Libra was in July of 2023, and this completes in January of 2025. You are having to let go, let God, surrender, release identity, aspects of self. Take care of your health. It's physically depleting sometimes. And my daughter's Libra boyfriend, she said, he's been sick for the third weekend in a row. Yes, Libras, you need to take care of your body, take care of your health, because you will feel depleted here. It is the South Node going over the ascendant, which is your body, your moon, your home life, your sun, your career. It's pulling energy away and down and out from you. So watch for that. But all at the same time, it's about destiny, fate, and where you need to let go, let God, surrender, release, so that you can grow and be more deeply connected to your truest self. So it's a bit of an enlightenment transit here every 18 years. The wisdom of K2, the wisdom of enlightenment and spiritual truth. Now, the eclipse that I wanted to highlight for you is the solar eclipse on October the 2nd, 2024. It can last up to a year. It's not a one-off. It's a year-long event at 5 degrees of Libra. Is it 5 or is it 10? 10 degrees of Libra. Holy man. So that eclipse is really going to snap into gear something about you. If it's Libra, sun, moon, and rising. In the first 20 degrees of Libra, let's be generous, you're going to feel it more acutely, right? It's going to hit you more intensely, but it is a reset button in your identity. And there's major changes in your life because you get reset. You can change your job. You can change your significant love relationship. You can change your home. Everything is up for grabs. South Node is in an applying square to the 4th house of home and real estate, indicating a lot of you may end up changing your home or your real estate. Or you could even say, the nodes move backwards. So I should actually say, the North Node moving through your 7th house can quash your home or change your home. And the South Node can change your career. So you're changing home, career, relationship stories. And this one eclipse so intensely connected to a solar eclipse, because there is a lunar eclipse here as well. That's happening March the 25th. Go get my all signs video, but it's a solar eclipse that really resets everything about your reality. So get ready for you to be at the helm of your life, making major changes in everything as a result of an eclipse that you haven't seen, right, in the Libra part of your sky since 2005 or early 2006. Really, it would have been the fall of 2005. Alrighty. So we're going to move on now to the next sign, Libra. Good luck with that. Again, you're in charge. You're the one making the changes. They're not happening to you. Well, the eclipses can feel like they're happening to you. There's no steering wheel, really. But it is you deeply in reinventing yourself in the wake of that eclipse. Hello, Scorpio, sun, moon, and most especially rising sign. Welcome to the top 3 transits of 2024, cherry picked by me for you. And by the way, you can get my 2024 all signs videos bundle for still $59 down below, and or the a la carte videos as well, because I will spend 75 to 90 minutes instead of 10 to 15 talking about everything you should care about in 2024. Whereas today I'm picking some highlights as a teaser. So let's talk about your story, Scorpio, in 2024. In my humble opinion, number one, let's just say this. You've been through the ringer because you had a bunch of eclipses, South Node style, going through your chart all through 2022, midway through 2023. Welcome, you survived. So it has been perhaps a journey already where you may have felt somewhat depleted, somewhat rattled, and found it was physically challenging, emotionally challenging, and maybe mentally challenging. But you've transformed, let go, released, surrendered, and hopefully are on your path. Now the eclipses are in another part of the sky and you can rest easy. But let's go into the top 3 stories that I think you need to pay attention to. And it's a bit of a humdinger because you had that North Node eclipse cycle in 2022, halfway through 2023, in your 7th house of marriage. It may have been very transformative, very shifty, very big changes in your significant marriage relationship, business partnerships, and maybe even with how you approach clients, audience, and other marketplace for your 10th house stories. But now we also have the big conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus, not seen since 1941 in the sign of Taurus. in the part of your sky that represents somebody in your life or people in your life that are important to you, your seventh house. And it is not necessarily all about you. Could be, but it could be that Jupiter Uranus is your partner, having unexpected and exciting and thrilling things happening for this conjunction, April 21st, 2024. That also unfolds over the course of 14 years. Certainly, though, there can be some unexpected prosperity or exciting positive news or developments going on with a love partner, with a business partner, or in the realm of how you reach your client market and audience and all of those people that you may have to encounter in that way. This conjunction is ruled by Venus, who happens to be watching from the sixth house of work, and therefore your partner may have sudden exciting news about health or work matters in their life, literally in April, May, but also it can be a new direction for their work that's going to be exciting and thrilling, and you're going to be participating as you watch that person go through this story. And again, because Venus witnesses this conjunction in a semi-sextile from the sixth house, some of it may be about, for them, a change of livelihood. Energetically, though, it's unexpected or dramatic energy. Now, you've had Uranus in the seventh house of marriage anyway since 2019, so you're kind of used to it, right? But if you wanted to put something into the world that could become a hit or, splash big in an audience marketplace, that's a really good transit for you in that regard over the next 14 years. But look to April, May for positivity there. I have a longer video on this for every sign that's pinned to my channel right now. Go check it out, because this is a very important reset cycle. And every sign gets it at a different time, right? The Pisces, it would happen in Pisces in 2011. It happened in Aquarius in 1997. In the 1980s, it was happening. It occurred, the conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter occurred in Sagittarius. So this is happening to be right across from you. That's why it's number one. And because it's happening right across from you, it may be also about other people, and it may not be about you, but the conjunction squares your home, fourth house of home, and it squares your 10th house of career, and changes in your partner's life, business and love can radically change your home and work stories as well. Not just April, May, but in the 6 months. In the 14 years that follow. It is good for success for Scorpios trying to reach a larger Jupiter, exciting, exhilarating, and wealth-building audience or marketplace or clients in your life as well. Number two is the second one I got for you. It's an elemental fire year. Fire in the sky. Mercury is going to be retrograding and caziming in fire signs, giving him about 6 months in fire. This is something that only happens every 7 years, last seen around the 2017 time into 2018. Maybe you can remember what happened in your life regarding the themes of money, earnings, work situations and opportunities, and career and reputation. The Eartha houses of 2, 6, and 10 are all up for action. Cut, go, yay, you, initiative, drive, adventure, new things starting here, revisions for success, all of the things that Mercury in his retrogrades and cazimis could accomplish. Now, Mercury starts off in April, not only in a cazimi in your sixth house of work, colleagues, co-workers, workspace, pets, tenancies, rental agreements. So there's something that could change all of those areas of your life starting in April, including debts, if you have to pay off a debt. And we'll get to that in a minute, because I can see why some of you may have some bounteous kind of almost inheritances or unexpected money that allows you to pay down credit cards, pay off mortgages, things like that. But when we talk about the fire year, we do see Mercury in the fire sign of Aries in your sixth house, in the heart of the sun in the month of April, with the North Node, making this particular retrograde and cazimi in your sixth house extremely intense and destined and larger than life. A destined pet, a destined new rental agreement, a destined debt restructuring or payoff, but also in job and work opportunity. So because the fire signs continue, August, Mercury's cazimi and long-term retrograde is in your 10th house of career and reputation. And then in December, in your second house of earnings, the whole big picture of the triad of mastery, or Artha, for work and money and career and resources is going to improve. So you're having this exciting redirect improvement, hopefully 2017, maybe into 18. You can go back and say, that's what that was like back then. I got a new job. I started a new career. I got a new pad. I got a new rental agreement. I paid off some debts. I made more money. I got a raise. I got a promotion. So these vibes are going to show up in your sky again, 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 again. So I think that for the most part, especially, a Kazemi in the August in the summer in the top of the 10th house, a really nice time of, resetting something in the career space. And later December 6th, the Kazemi in your second house of earnings can be a reset. As you retrogrades, it could also be going back to an old job you've had before in December, or being approached by a former employer. Same thing with the August story, but all said and done, it just elevates the success and intensity, because fire is initiative, it's drive, it's taking chances, it's taking risks. Remember, when it comes to work, money, earnings, don't be shy, take some chances, go for it. Finally, I want to draw your attention to Jupiter. What's the next one I was going to draw you? Oh yes, now I'm torn. I'm torn between what I had one I was going to give you, and I'm not sure I like it. Well, we'll talk about more than one thing then. With Jupiter moving into your 8th house of chunky money, on the 3rd week of May through to June of 2025, you look like you're coming through an inheritance transit. And when we add Pluto moving into your 4th house, all right, we also double down on that. And that Pluto 4th house trines Jupiter in Gemini. And that looks very much to me like legacy wealth coming through your family of origin or your partner's family as well, if you're married. This looks like inheritance money, but it can also be chunks of money, commission money, royalty income money, severance packages, buyouts, a stock taking off. But Pluto in the 4th usually can also mean someone from your family of origin can be dispensing some financial goodness toward you, whether they're just giving you money or they're passing away and giving you money. I don't know. And Jupiter doesn't open up the bounty of receiving that money in your chunky money house until the 26th of May. But Pluto enters into your 4th house on January 20th, and they may be sequential. So I'm not going to worry you, but you could go January 20th through to May the 26th, some bequeathment energy here. And then further on, Jupiter suggesting maybe receiving those funds anytime after May the 26th to June of 2025. If you want to buy a property or sell a property as well, Pluto trine Jupiter, getting a mortgage, getting a refinance, selling a property, buying a property is good for a lot of you Scorpios. And it's probably a lot of you will choose to use that Jupiter in the 8th house for the goodness of getting the right bank, the right mortgage, the right financing, lucky breaks there, and to find some potency, power, and wealth through land ownership, property ownership, or sale of property as well. So that's what I've got for you. Anything else I'd say about it? There is a bit of tension in your sky coming through in the month of November, especially mid-November, when Mars begins to oppose Pluto in the 4th house. And just thinking maybe November as well with that Pluto legacy wealth transit, could be some tension going on, but also quite possibly, to be honest, you leaving a job or leaving a line of work or quitting something in November. And because ultimately, with Mars moving through your 10th house through to June of 25, there's a lot of change going on in your career path over the next while, November through this 24 to June of 25. Okay. It's definitely going to redirect you in terms of purpose, meaningful purpose, and career. And because also during that long Mars, November 4th to June of 2025 travel through Leo, he also backs into your 9th house of God, but also foreign lands, foreign shores, international themes, and legal matters and courts, and things to do even with education, higher education. But with the courts thing, Mars in your 9th house and hanging out in Cancer, and he's there in October as well. So October, November, October, before you get to November, September, October, okay, September 2nd to November 3rd, Mars is in Cancer, and you could be going to battle or having to have lawyers work on your behalf on something, but ultimately it's career as well that can change. So you got at the end of the year kind of some turmoil, September, October, or you're traveling abroad, or you're going to court and having legal matters sorted out. But then I just want to say to you, Leo, by the time you get to next June, you made some major changes in your career path, or moved into something that gives you greater power, excitement, and passion. And you will see on the hindsight rearview mirror that is true by the end of next summer. Okay. Moving on to the next sign, don't forget to check my All Signs bundle below, where you can get more in-depth details about your story, and not have to just have the short version I'm giving you here today. We're just going to change the sign manually so that you're now looking at the sign after Scorpio, which is good old, wonderful Sagittarius. Okay. Hey, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Here we have a story of 2024 top 3 transits. If you want more details about 2024, up to 90 minutes of content for your sign, listen, check my description box below. You can buy that for a whole sign bundle, every sign, for only $59, which is incredible because it's 90 minutes times 12 videos. But also you can just buy your own sign, and that would help support my channel. If you like what I'm up to, I buy my mics, I buy my new laptops, I hire people like my sister to timestamp. So you can be a supporter of my channel just by buying something you're benefiting from that never goes on YouTube. My 2024 longer videos for each sign. So let's start off with what I've cherry picked for you. Number 1. Absolutely important to note that this 2024 is an elemental Mercury fire year. And we're going to say you're a fire sign and you're going to benefit from this because Mercury spending 6 months due to Cazimis and retrogrades in all of the signs of fire, Aries, Leo, and Sag, will enliven you in a very positive way. You will get the flow of Mercury heading towards you during 2024 and enlivening your reality. Now, Mercury is going to be in April, not only with the North Node where eclipses are happening, and Chiron where there's a deep healing, a wound healing around sexuality, romantic love, children and children relationships, fertility and pregnancy, entrepreneurship and creativity, and joy and enjoyment of life. All fifth house meanings, wound healing Chiron since 2019, North Node expanding the wound or even helping you heal. And then here we have Mercury in April joining into the fray, especially in the heart of the sun during a Cazimi. And there's a lot to be said about what's going on about resetting your child relationships with your children, your romantic and love and sexual life, and wounds around that, and also things perhaps to do with business or creative entrepreneurial projects or art projects. So you're doing a huge energy there in April, but it continues forth in August. Mercury in Leo in the heart of the sun reforms things to do with third marriages, long-term, long-distance foreign land travel, court and legal matters, things as well to do with books and book publishing, things as well in the ninth house to do with your spiritual beliefs and philosophy and what you think is the meaning of your life. And then in December, the reset button is in the house of you. Mercury around, I think, December 6th will reset himself in the Sagittarius part of the sky, and he's busy retrograding here. You're doing a lot of revisioning in the fall, rethinking who you are, resetting your agenda, starting over, figuring out what you want. You haven't had this elemental fire Mercury element really enlivening you this way and shifting you this way in what we call the Dharma houses of 1, 5, and 9 since 2017, right? It's a big deal for you. And so go back to how your life was changing in 2017, what things were, being revisioned into even 2018. Now, this is an energy about what brings you enjoyment, right? Fifth house, what brings you spiritual philosophy, trust the universe-ness, or even feeling like your life is meaningful. Ninth house, and then the first house of your identity and who you think you are, which is under revision by the end of this year. So get ready for that Mercury-oriented fire sign story. All of your Dharma houses are fire, and so it's all about risk-taking, bold adventure, the courage and daring to do something new. So you kind of have a lot of that when it comes to these stories. And because the ninth house is foreign travel and foreign lands, a lot of you Sagittarius, even though I know you all love to travel anyway, will do more of it in 2024, and maybe even travel along the lines of spiritual travel, like pilgrimages or quests for meaning. Number 2 is that you're going to have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in your 6th house. Now, why am I bringing Jupiter up? Jupiter is the lord of your sign. Where Jupiter goes, you should pay attention. So Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in the 6th house of work, you haven't seen this conjunction in Taurus since 1941, is going to reset you over the next 15 years, 14 years from April 21st of 2024, at 14 years until 2037, actually. And you are actually going to be doing something new in your work. Also, it can be a dramatic change to do with pets and rental properties or debts and debts you owe, but it's also your health and work house. You could reset your health by changing a lot of things in your life as a result of the April Cazimi conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus. Okay, you can really like go into a whole new direction for better health, but certainly it's a work house as well. And so new changes of livelihood, new changes of direction and work are definitely showing up for a lot of you. It's a karmic debt house, both relationally and also debt we owe and money we owe, people or people owe us. So maybe there's a sense here of kind of moving into closing out or changing or expanding or exhilarating changes in relationships that you always felt were karmic. Like this is a karmic debt relationship. So those could be themes that go on for you April and May. Certainly, there can be some dramatic expansion. Jupiter in the pet story, like you find out your dog or cat is pregnant. That could be a literal April, May story. But Venus is witnessing the Cazimi from the 5th house of children and romance, entrepreneurship, and sexuality. And therefore, it could be something to do with bringing more enjoyment and joy, creativity into your work. It may have to do with some changes in your work because that you're pregnant or your partner's pregnant or your children are getting involved in something and you have to shift your work. Possibly because Venus is in a semi-sextile at the time of the Cazimi from your 5th house. Some of you might really figure out you want to do something in the work sphere that is really aligned with your vitality, but also a natural gift or talent you have. So you're making some changes to work. That's the basic thing. Finally, Jupiter is the Lord of your sign, moving into your 7th house. It's a marriage transit, basically. It can bring you a new long-lasting relationship starting the 3rd week of May 2024, all the way through to June the 9th, 2025. If you're single, this is very lucky for finding somebody that can last, that can bring wealth and joy and enjoyment, that you see as big-hearted, magnanimous, and it flows towards, your greater good. It flows toward things to do with your relational houses, right, of 11 and 3. Jupiter in a relationship that's struggling is going to end it, right? He's the blessed endings god. Now, it's going to be something like this. If you're a Sagittarius rising especially, remember I told you earlier, sun can be career and moon can be mom and moon can be home and sun can be dad. But this ascendant is everything about you. But Jupiter crossing your moon can be a change of your home or an expansion of your home. Jupiter crossing your sun, a change of career or an expansion of your career, an ending. And your ascendant, a change of relationship status, basically. And so Jupiter is going to be moving into this part of the sky. And for the first half of his journey, like until January of 25, it's going to be a lot of Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising in the first half of the sign that get most juice. And in 2025, you later Sagittarius, let's say, 15 to 29, get to feel it a lot more degrees of Sagittarius. But if you have a relationship that is a challenge, then this can become a blessed ending transit, just so you know. And if you don't have somebody in your life and you're looking for love, you've got the North Node traveling through the house of romance and sexuality, Jupiter then going into your 7th house, humdinger energies for absolutely perhaps coming into a significant new love relationship because of Jupiter, especially because he's also trining the South Node. And that can bring a karmic and destined new love story into your life for you single Sag, sun, moon, and rising. And with all that fire of Mercury in the 9th house, probably some of you might even find yourself in a new relationship with someone from a foreign land or foreign shore, different language, religion, or culture. And it's an exciting time for single Sagittarius in 2024 for bounteous, prosperous, happy, joyful, long-term committed new love stories that are destined. That's as simple as that. Destiny calls you. All right. Thank you for listening, Sagittarius. And also just with that eclipse cycle in general, North Node eclipses going through the 5th house can bring destined new love relationships or a huge focus for some reason on your children. So those are going to be amplified energies. I remember when I had a North Node cycle through my 5th house was Gemini. I was waiting for the love of my life. And instead, it was an entire focus on my daughter for those 1.5 to 2 year window of time. but we'll go with it. If you're a Sag and you have adult children, the North Node eclipses in the fifth house, the Cazimi in your ninth can bring a grandchild announcement to you in 2024 as well. The Mercury Cazimi in the ninth. So good luck with that, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. We're moving on before I lose all of the light to the next sign. All right, give me a sec. Hello, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, but especially rising sign. Welcome to the top 3 transits of 2024, handpicked by me for you. But if you want to know everything that's happening to you and for you in 2024, you do want to check out below in my description box, still $59, my all signs video bundle or a la carte, pick your sign. 75 to 90-minute video content about everything you should know about 2024, not just the top 3, because I'm really having a hard time picking just the top 3. So there's a lot of important stuff going on in the year 2024. So let's get started. And by the way, the best thing I want to say, the most exciting thing is the rarity of what I'm about to describe. And that in 2024, in the month of January, around the 11th, at 5 degrees of Capricorn, Mars will become more visible. He's going to break away from the sun and be very hard to see, but in the very early morning hours. And that heliacal rise, early visibility of Mars after his 4 months of invisibility in the glare of the sun is called the heliacal rise of a planet. And it is where Mars rises that you rise. We all rise. He rose in Scorpio in 2021 in November, and we all rose in our Scorpio part of our sky where things went smoother well, right? That for you is your 11th house of good spirit. So you got more friends, more allies, you expanded your social groups or something like that. Some of you got some greater career gains. Some of you may have revised your longer term plans, dreams, and wishes for your life. Some of you may have got some unexpected financial bounty coming at you, but there were changes in your 11th house. This is true mostly for the rising sign Capricorn, but for the sun, it'd be about career and purpose, and for the moon, home and home life. So now we're going to see the rising of Mars in the house of you, in the sign of you. And therefore you are rising, you are succeeding, you are accelerating, you are exalting because Mars in Capricorn is in the sign of his exaltation. He's a little like Superman. Clark Kent turns to Superman. What part of you, Wonder Woman, what part of you is going to be super exalted? Now, I can't tell you what it will be, but it last happened in 1977, January. And this exaltation rising in January of this year is going to take place over 2 years. It's going to apply till January of 2026, just like the January of 77 applied to the January of 79, more or less. So go back to that time if you were alive. In what ways did you feel exalted? What ways, if you're old enough, were you rising up in all things you and way you want to direct your life towards your home, your career, your marriage, etc.? Now, Mars has a sword in his hand at all times, or scalpel, or scissors, or shears. And so he cuts, severs, and ends, and separates. And therefore, you will be carrying this energy of discernment, discrimination to cut, end, and sever what you no longer want in your life, who you no longer want, and where you no longer want to be, and in work, home, or in love. You also are more passionate, more driven, more will-powered, more focused, more Martian in your deportment. And you're going to move through life with more of that Martian quality. You will not suffer fools gladly. That is for sure, especially in marriage, which we'll get to. As Mars is doing this story, it's at 5 degrees of Capricorn. Certainly you Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising with placements near there, like Sun, Moon, and Rising near 5 Cap. So 0 to 10 Cap Capricorn are going to feel it more intensely, but you all feel it because it's just the house in which he's rising, or the house, whole sign, house, and sign. So all Caps feel like you're going to start a new 2-year cycle in January of what I'm just going to simply call categorically success, as you determine what success means to you, and sometimes by eliminating what isn't successful or what is determined by you to not be contributing to your greater goodness of success. If you need surgical procedures that involve a scalpel, that's Mars. He's in the house of you, exalted. It's not a bad 2-year window to choose to have those procedures to improve your wellness, and that could be very positive as well. Watch for inflammation or accidents, but it is still an exaltation, and he's more strong than he is weak. He's more robust than he is, malefic here. He's ruled by Saturn. Saturn is in your third house at the time of the Kazemi heliacal rise. And Saturn could be saying things like, and I want to prioritize travel. I want to prioritize writing. I want to prioritize your online world. I want you to prioritize your siblings, especially younger, but all sibling relationships. I want you to prioritize neighborhood and neighbors. I want you to prioritize learning or teaching, skill-based learning and teaching. And I think I said writing. And so basically the part of your life that I just described, your third house Pisces chunk of real estate, is going to also be elevated over the 2 years that follow. And maybe it's just going to be a lot of travel, but it can be also finishing a writing project. It can be getting an online website set up. It can be a powerful amount of success in like a course learning or teaching that you get involved in. And all of those third house matters. I mean, third house travel is usually more domestic or short distance, but it could indicate exalted outcomes through distance. Through travel in 2024 and 2025. Number 2 in the story. Oh, and because you don't suffer fools gladly and you got a sword in your hand, Cancer is your 7th house, and that is your significant marriage and long-term love relationship clients and audience. And you may be very picky and very sharp with those people, and you may execute them. Not literally, please, but from your life. And so if you're having a relationship challenge at this time, before you get to 2024, you may make some choices to no longer be in that relationship. And there's some support for that in the sky as well in another way, which we'll get to in a minute, which we're going to get to right now. So basically, you have Jupiter, Uranus in your 3rd house. Oh, sorry. Jupiter co-joining your, no, I wasn't going to do that one, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to add it. I just had a feeling we need to talk about it. I'm going to bundle this into what I just talked about. You have a sword and you don't suffer fools gladly. Okay. So it's really we're still on number 1, but because you have the Uranus conjunction with the North Node in the 5th house of romantic love, this happening on the 3rd week of April, right at 21 or 22 degrees of Taurus. This can also indicate an abrupt, sudden, shocking change regarding romantic love, and you've got a sword in your hand for 2 years. So that's possible, but that's also a money luck house, and you could have a bounteous money luck story in April and May as that conjunction happens. And over the course of basically, 14 years until 2037, that conjunction of Uranus, Jupiter in your 5th house can bring you a great deal of financial bounty, and usually through more lucky or speculative directions. Also unexpected bounty around pregnancy, also unexpected developments around romantic love. But again, Jupiter is a benefic planet, and he applies to a trine to you. The bounty of the 5th house, entrepreneurship, creativity are also highlighted. Now we're going to go on to number 2, and that's all in my longer video for you if you want to buy that. Number 2 is by far that eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries that's happening on April the 8th in your 4th house. Now, it's an angular house to you. It's the bottom of your sky. You may have been feeling somewhat wounded about where you belong in this world because Chiron has been moving through the 4th house of belonging since 2019 and will not leave till 2026. Good news is there's some healing here, because in February of 2024, there's going to be a conjunction of Chiron and the North Node. It can expand the wound. All right. You might feel in February, the 17th, out a week or 2 before and after, very wounded about where you belong in the world. Where's my true home? What's my nest? Wounded around property, homeland, and real estate matters. But then the wound may amplify and heal. I'm doing a whole separate video on this one, so you'll have to wait to see that one. But I would say that this energy can be about, with the eclipse on April 19th, connected to that. And it's going to be April the 8th, at 19 degrees of the sign of Aries. So, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, with your placements close to 19 degrees, the closer to 19 degrees you are, the more you feel it on either side. This is about some change of home. I think you're going to change your home and heal your wound around not knowing where you should belong, which home, homeland, home space, real estate space, property space is right for you. And so what'll happen is the eclipse of April the 8th will unfold up to a month before and a year after total solar eclipse, 4.5 minutes long, really impacting your life even for 4 years that follow. And swathing through a visible part of the United States as well. Don't look at the eclipse. It's not good for you. But none, I don't mean because of the eyeball damage, because ideally you should not look at an eclipse in the ancient tradition because it can be more harmful or malefic that way. But nonetheless, I'm going to predict that many of you Capricorns will have a change of home or homeland and feel more like a healing of the belongingness around the home, property, real estate story in the course of approximately a year from April the 8th eclipse. Now, it is the house of your family of origin, the house of the mother, the house of things to do with your childhood. And if you need to heal Chiron, those childhood wounds, mother wounds, family of origin, ancestral wounds as well, that could be very much about what that eclipse wants to continue from the work of the Chiron North Node conjunction in February. And lastly, the third thing to pay attention to in my top three is that you're going to experience a Saturn square Jupiter energy, and that is intense. Now, there are 2 points in which Saturn and Jupiter are squaring in the sky in August and again in December. I'm going to try to remind myself of the exact dates. Give me a second. August 19th and December 24th. Why would you care about Saturn square Jupiter at all? What possible reason does it bother you? Well, I really chose this because Saturn is the lord of your sign as a Capricorn rising, as it is also the traditional lord, by the way, of Aquarius. And it's squaring from the third house trips and travel and neighbors and neighborhood and siblings and online world and writing projects. It's squaring Jupiter in your sixth house of work. And the good news is Jupiter is going to enliven your work life starting in the end of May through to June of 25. And that's wonderful. But it's the square that your health and work can be blessed and improving. Yay, you. And yet there's this, and also rental options and rental properties for your new home if you want to rent something. But that square from Saturn, your Lord, in Pisces, is intense energy. And you may find yourself in those 2 occasions of, I just mentioned to you the dates because my brain just already forgot them, August and December. You might find yourself in a kind of bind about something, right? Jupiter wants to expand your work, expand your rental situation, expand your pets, expand your, bring bounty and goodness to your life so you can pay off a debt maybe. And then Saturn in the third house of travel and journeys in the local neighborhood is not really down with it. He's really kind of like got his arms crossed and going, I don't know about this. I don't think so. Let's think about this. Let's be more careful. And Jupiter just wants to blow things up, grow them faster, make them larger. And even as I say that with Jupiter, flowing to Pluto in your second house of money and earnings, it makes it even more intense because it looks to me like you could get involved in some kind of opportunity to create greater financial gain through work in 2024, or greater gain through something you're doing and financially. And there's tension from the third house. So maybe there's problems like with travel, and travel's getting in the way of what you want. Maybe your sibling or neighbors are problematic regarding your agenda. Maybe your writing projects that you want to complete are now competing with your work agenda and your prosperity agenda. Those are all possibilities. Saturn here can outpicture as a sibling or a cousin or a family member, extended family member who's objecting or squaring or giving you a hard time regarding what's going on in this work thrival. Okay, career uplift that you may be experiencing. And anything you want to do in your career, it has to come from your soul. Because the South Node is transiting through the 10th house, which is the spiritual depths of who you are. And until 2025, any career agenda for a Capricorn or purpose agenda has to be aligned with the deepest spiritual impulses for truth and understanding and spiritual awakening as possible. And so there's a lot going on for you here, but it does show some opportunities for a new job or career opportunity, some new thrival, but perhaps some conflicts around the amount of travel needed or issues to do with a sibling or extended families like cousins objecting or causing some friction here. Okay, now we're going to move on to our next sign, and let's change the sign. I still have a bit of light here working, right? I'm not completely either glaring or dark. Give me a sec. All right, let's go ahead and do the next 2 signs, which is okay, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, the top 3 transits of 2024, handpicked by me to tease you into the year. And also maybe consider looking at my 90-minute videos instead get them for a small amount of money down below, because those are my fundraisers for my microphone, my laptop, my assistants that help me timestamp and do other things that help my business grow. So if you want to support my channel, support my business, and also receive 90-minute videos times 12 if you buy the bundle for only $59, or just buy your own sign for $25. Those are all below in the description box below. Now, let's talk about my interpretation as an Aquarius sun, moon, rising. I'm a rising. Sun is your career, moon is your home, sun is your purpose or father, moon is your body, your mother. But the rising sign is all about you, everything about you and how you see the world and what's going on. Well, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by number one, Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius. Could you be surprised? I'm not. Well, we got a foretaste of this once in a lifetime transit, not seen for the last 250 years, last year in March through to June, and then late March through to mid-June. And that was just a teaser because it was literally the 0-degree mark that Pluto was hanging in and then retrograded back to Capricorn. So this is a story this year that's a lot more broad-based. It's going to get 2 degrees into Capricorn starting January 20th, and Pluto will be there till the end of this year, but also he will also back into Capricorn 29 degrees. I think it's like September 2nd to November 19th. So there is a bit more of that old Capricorn story going on for us, which has to do with our spiritual awakening, basically. And as some of us have acknowledged that we've had spiritual awakenings with Capricorn Pluto transit since 2008, but it's also deepened our wealth and our power from foreign lands, foreign shores, and revenue for PayPal, Stripe, working for international companies. Also helped us really dive into the deep undergirds of our addictions and self-undoing. Well, now this Pluto transit through the first house of us is going to be bringing us into the foreground of what authentic power means and how we can feel really powerful or not in our lives, as well as prosperous and wealthy. And look more deeply, like at the underbelly of our own identity, because Pluto is looking under the surface of things as well. If you're an Aquarius sun, moon, and rising in the first 5 degrees of Aquarius, the next 2 or 3 years of this Pluto transit are the most important. Don't forget, Pluto will be in Aquarius until 2043. And so this is a longer story. But it's going to be interesting in February when we have a stellium of planets. We're going to have, Venus and Mercury and the Sun and Pluto all jumbled up together. I think I'm forgetting somebody. Who am I forgetting? Oh, seriously, let me go back in time on my chart. There's so many planets in February hanging out together in our sign Aquarius that February is going to become by far the most important month of 2024 for every Aquarius sun, purpose and career, moon, home and mother and body and ascendant, everything about you. So oh gosh, who's here? Everybody's here. Oh my God. So moving us into that time, I'm just looking at my back end just to remind me of the assembly of planets, I'm calling it. It's Venus, Pluto, Mars and Mercury, and the Sun. By mid-February, everyone is in there together, partying in the house of us. And Pluto, Venus is a wealth yoga, but it's also forbidden love, the power of love, higher love. Mars is like ambition and drive, and Mercury's ideas and communication, and the Sun is like vitality and purpose. Oh my goodness gracious. So look for February to be a very intense energy regarding this new story of all of us Aquarians being the lead goose for humanity. We're going to be the ones who lead the world forward. And I know that sounds audacious to say that the water bearers have the show, but it's because of the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction around December 21st of 2020, that synodic cycle initiates for 2 decades that follow all Aquarians of the world and calls us to be this lead force for the collective good. I know a lot of us are knowing, Pluto and Aquarius, it'll be either aliens, UFOs, and or AI technology. Of course, that's a world story, but in our individual lives, we're going to find some kind of new interior deepening of our power and authentic power. And it certainly can be transformative. I know the Capricorns went through it already. They weren't too fond of this energy. As Cap said, they finally got Pluto out of their first house, 2008, till the end of 24. It's a last gasp. But I don't think we should be afraid of Pluto, because this Pluto transit for us is going to really feel like an authentic connection to our power, because we have already seen that initiation of Jupiter Uranus at 0 Aquarius, ushering in this next couple of decades for us. And I'm just an optimist. And the next thing I want to say in my list of yay us is that I would like to point out that we have that Jupiter Uranus conjunction, last seen in 1941 in Taurus, happening in our 4th house of home, property, mother, childhood, homeland, the ancestors, wealth from legacy wealth, inheritance from the family, money from the family coming through. Now, Jupiter has been here in the sign of Taurus since May of 23 and will leave the 3rd week of May of 24. And before that happens, Uranus co-joins, or Jupiter co-joins with Uranus. This synodic cycle last happened in our 2nd house of earnings. Okay, so go back to 2010-11 till now, to 2024 April, and ask yourself, how did your financial world go? Was it good? Was it mediocre? Was it yay? What kinds of things happened? Certainly you would have had some rags to riches, unexpected ups and downs, Jupiter, Uranus, but there were some significant changes there. And if you go back to 1997, the synodic cycle was in Aquarius. And of course, 1997 to 2010-11, we radically changed our whole life. That for me was a lot, losing of family members, a divorce from my, separation from my father, my kids, changing countries. So we've already gone through a lot of intensity anyway with that conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus way back when in 1997, add 14 years. I'm looking at a beautiful heron outside right now. And this is case Jupiter's brought you luck, right? Have you not, as an Aquarius, felt some luck in your home, property, real estate, bounty in and from the home, expansion of the home, luck in and from the home? Since last May, I have. I got a rental agreement from a Swiss lady that's like a plum deal, and I can't believe I was so lucky. But also, Uranus has been here in our 4th house, destabilizing home, property, and real estate, actually since May of 2018, doesn't leave till 2026, if I remember correctly, and is actually making us look at the idea of erratic, unstable home. But now Jupiter is expanding prosperity and bounty in and from the home. So it kind of synodically says April 21st, 21 degrees of Taurus, particularly, if your sun, moon, and rising Aquarius is near 21 degrees by 5 degrees on either side, you really feel this intensity of a square Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in that 4th house, home, property, and real estate. It's more change, it's more expansion, it's more growth, but not just April, May, but over the course of 14 years. This is where things are either very bounteous, very prosperous, and also bounteous, prosperous, and rebellious, and freedom-loving, and erratic, and unstable. Uranus. Welcome to the world of that next 14 years. I would say that it means we change our home a lot, but we have prosperity and bounty about those changes, and joy and enjoyment, and we feel blessed and good about our changes in our home, property, and real estate. And it could also be unexpected opportunities to buy and sell real estate over the next 15 years. Whichever way it goes, for the most part, because Lord Venus is witnessing it in a semi-sextile from the 3rd house, it could also indicate a lot of travel, and travel from home or to different homes, or having more than one home as a result of Venus in the 3rd house during the time of the Cazimi, baking in that narrative over the next 14 years. Or it could be things that we're prospering in and about from the home, to do with the online world, the internet, writing projects, teaching and learning projects as well. Things that Venus might care about in her Xena warrior princess Aries form, with the North Node, as witnessing what's going on with that conjunction from our 3rd house to our 4th house. All right, let's go ahead and talk about number 3. Am I losing the likes? I'm looking at the chart. I'm getting there. Number 3 for us sun, moon, and rising people in Aquarius. I wanted to point out, well, there's so much to point out here. I hope I'm not going to miss anything important, but Saturn. Lord Saturn is our lord of our sign. He's moving through our 2nd house since last year, since March of last year. He leaves in February of 2026 for good. He's going to leave a little early, but he has a retrograde. And that's going to be us getting very serious, once every 30-year transit, 29, 30 years, to get very serious and very stable about how we make our money, how we create resources and earnings. But it's interesting that as Saturn is giving us this stability and this seriousness about also food style, like restricting eating and drinking and smoking things that are bad for us, strengthening our dietary style to be more ascetic or reserved or constrained about the foods we choose to eat. But he's also doing the same for our money. So it's not get rich quick. It's get rich steady as you go. Careful and cautious, one step at a time. The tortoise wins the money race, right? And so that's important to know. We're not in that state of running after money. We're trying to build it up in an incremental earning structure. And he's with Neptune, who's been there since 2011, saying, let's make your dreams come real in terms of money, and let's give your money making a spiritual edge. Or you can make money in playwriting, script writing, storytelling, Hollywood, filmmaking, music, photography, some of the Neptunian areas, as Saturn came in here to stabilize things. But the point of the last one, number 3, that was a preamble, is Saturn will square Jupiter. Jupiter in our 5th house is bringing us money, luck, and bounty. He gets there in June, right after he finishes that conjunction. And he gets there in the 3rd week of May. And he can bring you things like 3rd week of May through to June of 25, lottery wins, speculative wins in the stock market, casino wins. He could bring you pregnancy and fertility if that's something you're looking for. He can bring you grandchildren there. He can bring you excitement of enjoyment of your creative projects and expanding your entrepreneurial business. It's all good stuff, that Jupiter in our 5th house flowing in a trine to us. Yay, us. But at the same time, we have a hard part of the sky in the month of August and the month of December, as there will be a square forming from Saturn in the money and earnings house to joyful Jupiter gallivanting in the 5th. Now, romance is the 5th, and you may experience a new romance if you're a single Aquarian, and that will be a wonderful romance, but it might be at odds in August and also in December with things you're trying to accomplish in your steady as you go earning structure. The 5th house is pleasures and enjoyment, and Jupiter expands those enjoyment and pleasures in August and also in December. And you might be having Saturn put on his crossed arms restraint, disapproving what you're up to. The actual dates of that, just so you know, I should have memorized that. I'm coming. The actual dates are, hallelujah, where are you? I'm going to find it. I'm not giving up yet. I know it's August 19th and December 24th, but don't look at the day. Give a week or two on either side. It's a long transit. August 19th, December 24th, friction in the sky. Don't think about it as, because it's one in the retrograde, and there's another one in the next year as well, but it moves out of the signs that they're in. Things that you're dealing with in August and in December. Are you having to withhold pleasure? Are you having to break away from some kind of enjoyment in order to be more serious? Are you having to restrain your spending because you want to do some fun, pleasurable activities like leisure travel? Again, August and December. And it's a deeper story than that, really, because Saturn is just trying to stabilize voice, vocation, and calling. And Jupiter just here is having a good time in the 5th house. And so it can be like having to buckle down to accomplish something in your professional endeavors that you really want to accomplish, especially with the Cazimi in November of Mars in our 10th house. We're changing our career, and we have to buckle down to make those changes successful, right? And then there's just a tension between fun and play, joy and pleasure, and the everyday grind of getting things done professionally and financially. So there's my story for us. There's a lot more going on for us. I'm telling you, in 2024, check the all sign stuff, or buy the bundle, or buy your sign, and support the channel to grow, and my hire staff, and buy equipment, etc., etc. And I would appreciate that. And we're going to move into the last sign. I'm just changing the backdrop. Give me a sec. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. You are first, always first, best, and always best. And the mystic poets of the zodiac, the world needs you, and yay, us that have you in our lives. I've got a lot of Pisces in my life. So here's the deal. Number 1, okay, I'm for you. Like, I'm going to give you my top ones, right? first of all, you have to understand that you're not ruled by Neptune. That's modern astrology. It doesn't work for Time Lords, doesn't work for anything. So don't think about that. You're ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is your number one planet. You just watch what Jupiter doth in the sky. By far, the most important thing Jupiter does, of course, is going to be the conjunction with Uranus, which we have not seen. Right? This is way back in the day. But before I tell you all about it, don't forget, if you want a more deep dive, not just your top 3 transits of 2024, and you want to know more about what you should know about, I have a 90-minute video, 75 to 90-minute video for your sign. It's down below. You can buy it for $25, or you can get the bundle of all signs for $59. That sale price for all signs will end at the end of January. And it basically allows you to share with friends and family, Christmas stocking and stuffers, but also to listen for sun, moon, and rising for less money than buying each sign for $25. So go check that out. And now let's go ahead and talk about, and it's a fundraiser. So I buy my mic, I hire my assistant to timestamp. So I get help to grow my channel for you guys by virtue of your support during this time of year where I'm selling my all signs videos that never go public and my individual videos in the long deep dives. Thank you. Now, Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, April 21st, around 22 degrees or 21 degrees of Taurus, is a cycle that has last happened in 1941, and it has not happened since then. Therefore, in this sign, it is rare, although, yes, this happens every 14 years in a different sign. It was in Aries in 2011. It was in Aquarius in 1997, right? So these stories do repeat, but Jupiter, bounty, goodness, guru, truth, wisdom, dispeller of darkness, Uranus, excitement, freedom, rebellion, invention, change, they get together in this cycle in your sign. I mean, in the sign of Taurus, not that often, like really about every 84 years. So we're looking back to the last time this occurred, which is 1941. And unless you were born before then, this is going to be a first in a lifetime experience. The conjunction is happening in your 3rd house of travel, short distance travel, siblings, cousins, neighbors, neighborhood, online world, writing. And this energy, your ideas, communication in general, is going to be given a boost and a boom and an energy in April. And it doesn't just happen to be about April 21st, give or take a week. It happens to be about the next 14 years of your life. I do have a longer, deeper dive video on this, pinned to my channel, so go listen to that. But we're covering it because Jupiter is the Lord of your sign. This new conjunction in your 3rd house is going to flow to you in a sextile, right? So it's a very positive development. But please go back and remember that this conjunction happened in the sign of you, Pisces sun, moon or rising, but rising especially, back in 2010-11, as it did for Aquarian sun, moon, and rising in 1997, and the Sag people in the mid-1980s. So this is your turn. This was your turn, and it's coming to a close. Now, it literally looks like massive life change for each of the signs that go through it, right? I talk about that in my 2000 and the longer video about this. So you could probably say you change your job, you change your home, you change your marriage partners, you changed everything. Lots of stuff changed for you, Pisces, in 2011 to 2024, right? Let me count the ways. However, this cycle is bringing in change in your 3rd house. So again, it can be about a sibling or a neighbor and they're having the change, but it can also be about travel and trips and local neighborhoods. And a lot of you may have a dramatic change of a neighborhood next spring, but you almost may be beginning a path over the next, 14 years of a lot more travel or a lot more teaching. You want to teach people or writing or online world stuff or learning. All the meanings of the 3rd house become amplified for 14 years. So you have to understand this is not just an April story. It's a new area of your life that becomes a spotlight for the sky in the whole sign house system. Please, I gave you the intro. Don't tell me about your Placidus. And the other thing about that is that in this case, because it all flows to you in like a very lovely way, you don't know what that's like. I mean, the 1980s one was squaring you from the 10th house. The 1997 was an aversion in your 12th house of foreign lands and travel. I don't know, a lot of you Pisces got foreign land stuff going on back then, but this one is actually and the other one was right on top of you, right? 2010, 11 to 2024. But this is flowing. Sextiles are the nature of Venus. They bring luck, graciousness, opportunity, goodness, friendliness. They bring good things to you. So this is a beginning of a really nice cycle for you. And I bet you a lot of you will find travel becomes extremely important, maybe for work, because Jupiter rules the career house as well. So traveling for work, writing for work, things to do with skills-based teaching or learning. You might want to become an instructor, a teacher, a guide, a coach, or you may indeed become very coachable, teachable, and instructed over the course of the years that follow. But certainly you could like suddenly have an event here, a sudden opportunity to travel, sudden opportunity to learn in April, May of next year. It's just the first taste of a longer story that's going to fly through your sky in a longer period. Number 2 is definitely Jupiter again. How can we ignore the Lord of your sign moving into your 4th house? This is going to happen in your property, homeland, and real estate segment of the sky, your Gemini corridor of real estate. Now, this movement around the 26th of May through to June 9th of 2025 will give you bounty, prosperity, success, joy in the home, from the home, but also to do with the home, like the apartment, the house, the land, where you live, real estate. And so a lot of you are going to experience lucky breaks in those areas of your sky, also opportunities to expand or grow. And it could be like, oh, I'm going to build a bigger house here. I'm going to expand my home. I'm going to buy a second house. I'm going to, and some of these changes may be connected to your career because the 10th house is what Jupiter rules, but you're definitely expanding your home. And because Pluto is in Aquarius, some of you will expand your home in connection to foreign shores, foreigners, foreign lands, okay? Where Pluto is going to be ingressing as well and bringing that Pluto-Jupiter 12th house, 4th house story to life. I wonder too, I mean, with Jupiter here for a lot of you, this could mean teaching in and from your home. Or having a teacher come to live in your home. But of course, no one's going to have a teacher live in their home for the course of over 14 years, but certainly April, May. I mean, when this 14 years for a whole year, but certainly in the year that this is occurring, last week of May through to June of 2025, you may have a teacher living in your home, you know, a guru living in your home, somebody coming to visit your home who's a teacher. It's good for property, land, home, and real estate. Okay. It's good for selling and buying property, home, land, and real estate. And that's going to be true all the way through the year that this is happening. With the North Node expanding your earnings, I know that a lot of you Pisces have felt somewhat wounded in your earnings and resources since 2019 as Chiron has been moving through your 2nd house. And now the North Node will heal that in February next year. And then, of course, you'll have eclipses here, also giving you new work and career and monetary opportunities throughout till, spring of 2025. And just having Jupiter in your 4th house, sextiling the North Node, sextiling Chiron to the 2nd house, brings up the feeling of more bounty and prosperity about home, property, land, and real estate and possessions. And we do possess a home. Okay, we possess a car and we possess a sofa. So something that you possess and having the money to possess it. And Jupiter in the 4th suggests home, property, land, and real estate possessions. Okay. And so those improve for you over the course of the year that Jupiter is in the 4th house. Now, it's a legacy transit, and if you have inheritance money coming to you or should be coming to you from your family of origin, or your partner's family of origin, if you're married, then that can be something going on here as well, where you may get some kind of inheritance money percolating through your sky. The South Node is moving through your house of chunky money as well, and there are eclipses there as well, especially March 25th next year and October 2nd next year. Those can indicate some financial changes in your chunky money. It's also interesting because we don't really want you to rely on inheritances or stocks and stuff like that because the South Node is sort of taking away the energy there. But yeah, who knows, what's going on. A lot of this looks to me though like real estate, property, land, and legacy wealth can be a very significant story for Pisces in 2024 into 2025. When the universe is asking you to figure out ways to be resourceful and to heal the wound about making money or earning money or having enough resources in your life, and Jupiter supports that healing, especially starting in the month of May on the 26th and flowing until the June of 2025. Finally, I did touch on it. I'm going to go a little deeper. Chiron North Node conjunction, right, is happening, not seen since 1969 in Aries, in that 2nd house of earnings. And now it's more than just your money that's being healed here. And this conjunction is around February the 16th, 17th. Don't attach yourself to those dates. And there's an April 8th eclipse here at 19 degrees as well. Total solar eclipse kind of suggesting that a lot of Pisces are going to dramatically change the way they make money by ending one thing and beginning another, starting next April out of year. But I think the healing here I think Chiron North Node will inflame a wound in order to heal a wound, right? So some kind of wound around resources and earnings is going to kind of be activated in February, or maybe healed in February. I'm not sure. And then it leads to a revolution or of some sort, something good is happening. Well, not a revolution, but then Jupiter in June flows to what has been healed. And it suggests that maybe some greater resources through a change of home, a change of homeland, a bigger home, a better home, a sale of a home, a buying of a home, all of those. Also, what you eat and what you put in your mouth, right? That's very much about the second house. And maybe literally needing to heal something to do with it's no longer time to drink that much alcohol, to eat that much gluten, to indulge in those sugary foods. You might have a dietary healing here in February that can completely restore your sense of wholeness to the house of your self-worth, because the money house and the possessions house and the earning second house, the Aries house, is also how you are able to be worthy of something and to have a sense of self-worth and value and values. What do you value and what are your values? And those are being healed as well. But sometimes it's kind of funny, the jaw, the mouth, what you eat, what you drink is second house stories. Now, like if you don't like your jaw and it's terrible, your teeth are bad, or you don't like your face, or something about your visage is no longer serving you, you could be healing that. You could be doing something to restore your feeling good about your teeth, your face, your jaw. As a result of the Chiron North Node and the eclipse and the Jupiter sextile from the fourth house, of the childhood where everyone told you your teeth were stupidly looking or your jaw was too weak, and so there's a very strong possibility that maybe because Chiron can represent medical stuff, that some of you Pisces can do some facial rejuvenation or changes to your face, especially jaw, teeth, in 2024, starting in February, but getting even more successful after the late May into June movement of Jupiter through your fourth house. And a reminder, with Pluto moving through your 12th house, besides spiritual enlightenment over the next 20 years, there's a lot of power and wealth coming from places to do with foreigners, foreign shores, and foreign entities. And Jupiter in the 12th and flowing to that from the fourth house might mean some of you will move to another country or do things in and from your home that involve international revenue and international foreign people. And that's going to help you prosper and increase your resources as well. I don't think I have any more to say to you. I'm just looking through the chart to make sure I'm not missing a big piece of story for you. Don't think so. There's so much I could be talking about, but that's all in my deep dive 2024 all signs videos, one for each sign. And so definitely look below to get that for your Pisces sun, moon, and rising, or buy the bundle. I feel like I might have talked less for you, so I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'll add one more thing for you. There's a lot more in my longer videos. Venus will cazimi in June 3rd, 4th, in the heart of the sun at around 14, almost 15 degrees of your fourth house of home, property, and real estate. That alone suggests that in the year that follows that cazimi, particularly the 9 months that follow, and the 4 years beyond that June event, you're going to have a change of home, a new home, a better home, a more blessed home. So get ready for that cazimi. It's a direct motion Venus conjunct the sun. And it's every 4-year reset. And this one is from her direct motion or superior conjunction. And given that, given that the cazimi is doubling down with the Jupiter transit, there's and the Pluto from the 12th house, there's something about, I will double down on, could it be a foreigner or foreign land or something to do with the word international that is going to help you prosper and thrive and succeed? But again, new home, question mark. Thanks, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising, for listening to this today. Thank you, everyone who's listened to all their signs. This is probably almost a 3-hour video. Takes that long to do 3 comments for every sign. If you enjoyed this kind of content, don't forget, if you like my channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this with other people. It helps the channel grow. And I hope you remember that, because I forgot to remind anyone at the beginning of this video to do this. Thank you, everyone. This video was recorded on my Patreon community December 18th. They'll get it a bit before you guys, but it's probably coming out on the 20th or 21st of the month of December as we head into the solstice season. Everyone have a wonderful day and please enjoy 2024. It has some good things in it.